never wanted to be left here to believe we've been left here just to
Доброе утро. Утрица доброе. Так. Сейчас сделаем вот так. Так сделаем. Сейчас. Пельмешки. Пельмешки без спешки. Так. Ну как без спешки. Не надо спешить с пельмешками. Пельмешки не игрушка. Так. Гарри Поттер, дополнительные материалы. Третий фильм у нас, да? Так, а что мне тут зазумлено все, блядь? Так. Третий, окей. Ну что, как делишки? Посмотрел, короче, статистику за те последние 2 дня с просмотром доп. Материалов моих. Как говорится, мы в дерьме. Вот. Ну и похер. Да, я сонный. Я что-то вообще... У меня 4 будильника, и я ни одного не помню. Поэтому я подскочил резко. Как-то сам проснулся уже, блядь. Поэтому сонный. Сонный. Но сейчас будем будиться. Будиться и смотреть. Интересное. Интересное видео. Вот. Ну тогда я что-то вообще сонный. Так. Так. Что такое нахуй? А почему мне это присылают? Я ж не играл в эту игру. Ничего не понял. А похеру. Так, кстати, давай еще заодно вот эту почту проверим. Ага, пусто. Все, замечательно. Так. Я вот установил себе стеллаж, наконец, собранный до конца, рядом со столом. И вот у меня, где висит свет, вот, он теперь мне дает вот такую тень, более четкую. То есть, я так понимаю, что из-за того, что там сейчас стеллаж, свет вот так вот идет. То есть, он раньше вот так вот шел, а теперь вот так вот. То есть, ему ограничение как будто бы я хз. Вот. И в итоге вот такая жесткая тень. Если я типа включу здесь дополнительный свет, тень все равно остается. Она же становится полегче, но остается. Не хочу сейчас с двумя цветами сидеть. Ой. Да не, посижу. Так что... Ох, пяточка. Едь сюда. Так, ну что? Музыка. Так, герои и создатели фильма «Третий Гарри Поттер». Смотрим. Тут у нас длинное видео сразу, на 43 минуты.
Hello there.
All right, brethren, welcome to the cast and crew interviews. I'll be asking the in-depth questions you'll want to know about the people that made this movie possible.
The only question I think now the viewers want answered is what the heck are you doing on this part of the DVD?
At least I was in the movie.
You were in the movie, yes, as a prop, but you weren't in the movie as a star. When the stars want to talk, they're going to be talking to me. So that's why I'm going to be doing these interviews.
We're a double act. We're doing the interviews.
That's why I'm doing the interviews.
We're doing the interviews.
If it makes you happy, that's why we're doing the interviews. Now, I understand that Alfonso had you each write an essay. What was that all about?
Эссе, то самое.
Well, actually, I didn't. I never did the essay.
True to character, you didn't hand in your homework.
No, I didn't do it, but...
Yeah, he basically asked us to write an essay about who we thought our characters were, why they did the things they do, their background, their feelings, their thoughts, how they've changed in the first year of Hogwarts, second year of Hogwarts, and now into the third year, and all that kind of stuff.
And it was... I felt really so pleased with myself because you hadn't handed yours in and I felt so pleased. I've done it. So I had mine. The next day Emma comes in with all 16 pages of hers.
Well, it's frighteningly good casting, really, the way you've all reacted to this.
Well, we just got a chance to explore the characters slightly more because they're growing up, basically. And so there's more scope to the characters than in the books.
We're teenagers.
What is the first thing that typically fans do when they see you in public?
Quite a lot of double takes. First of all.
Yeah.
I think there's almost this theory that we can't actually go out in public, so it must just be somebody who looks like us.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
But, I mean, that's kind of a myth. We do actually go out.
Yeah, I was in Totcha the other day, and this the woman who's working there comes up and goes, it's so funny. You look exactly like the girl who plays Hermione. It's like, yeah, it's because I am. Excuse me? What? Sorry?
I have to travel in a handbag so the girls won't get me. You know what they say? Once you've gone out with a shrunken head, you never go back.
You see when your mouth has come unstitched? That could easily be restitched. Yeah? What is the most ridiculous thing that a fan has ever said to you?
Well, I've had proposals of marriage. I had one, which was bizarre.
Ah,
It
господи.
was terrifying.
It's Dan, marry me.
Yeah. Which was the weirdest one. It was
Господи.
this big sign. And then the other one was the towel girl.
The towel girl.
The towel girl. She's a legend.
So what did the towel girl do?
We were filming, I was doing MTV in New York. And it was
Девушка с полотенцем.
freezing cold out. I mean, it's not like it was a warm summer's day. It was so cold. And I got up and they took me over to the window and there was a girl standing down there wearing nothing but a Harry Potter towel with a sign that said, it doesn't get much better than this.
No, that's
with
so
a sign,
flattering, man.
with a sign that says, nothing comes between me and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
I bet it was.
It was. Yeah.
In the movie, you encounter a boggart who transforms itself into your worst fear. If you individually encountered boggarts, what do you think they'd be? Because you look like you love that pressure.
Well, I'm actually really scared of spiders. I hate spiders, just like Ron, really.
You're wimpier than Johnny.
What animal or animagus? Is it animagus?
Animagus.
Animagus. Oh, I've been corrected by Hermione Granger.
Right.
What
Исправила
do the other
Гермиона.
two morph into?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Какого хера? Они остальные двое почему не ответили на вопрос про Богарта? Или вырезали, блядь?
I didn't say you look like a frog.
You did in one of the pictures.
Did I?
Yeah, one of the stills. I was.
God, that was during my horrible phase. I don't know. What animal would you like to be? You like camels,
Camels are quite
so
cool,
you can
yeah?
be a camel.
It's a handy thing to be, you know. You can go a long time without
Yeah,
water.
Exactly.
That's sort of, yeah.
I have absolutely no idea about. I'm sorry.
Throw one in.
Come on. Yeah, come on, Dan.
Come
No
on.
pressure or anything.
You're meant to be able to, you know, do things like that.
I know, but I can't.
You are the boy Potter.
I'm meant to be able to.
Hey, how about a potato head?
Hey,
A platypus?
help me!
A lion?
A lion.
I don't
Big
know.
face.
Okay. What do you think he'd be? What do you think he'd be?
Well, I know he has a real thing for werewolves.
No, just wolves. Wolves. Not werewolves.
No, wolves. Okay.
I convinced you that I was a werewolf.
Oh,
well, no,
you
I
did,
yeah. Yeah, I told him I was a
I
werewolf.
believed you as well.
Блин, ну такая троица угарная. Сидят втроем, короче. Эмма просто вообще хохочет, улыбается, как ничего. Этот Руперт такой... И один вот этот... Нет, ну подожди. Руперт должен, блядь. Дэниел такой... Вот, непонятный. А этот Руперт вообще какой-то зажатый сидит такой... Пожалуйста, не спрашивайте меня ни о чем.
No, you could have done, really.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Okay, fellas, you are, you know, probably the most famous under 16-year-olds on this earth. The girls must be... It must be a glorious time.
Plenty of towel girls.
Yes.
Девушка с полотенцами.
No, yeah, no, it's right. It's very cool. Yeah.
What are the things you'd like to be able to do that you can do in Harry Potter that you can't do in the real world? Would Quidditch be one of them? What are the sort of things you'd... If you could pick
Yeah.
one thing...
I think I'd probably have the invisibility cloak because then I could just sneak into so many rock concerts. It'd be great.
You don't need a cloak to sneak into concerts. Just rolling under the turnstile like I do.
Yeah.
But I do have a favorite band.
Okay, what's your favourite band?
Isn't it obvious? Talking Heads. You walked into that one.
And lastly, guys, when a new Harry Potter book comes out, you must now, you know, having started...
Когда ты актер, играющий Гарри Поттера, ты на любой концерт можешь пройти. Потому что первое, либо тебя пустят, потому что тебя все знают, второе, тебя пустят, потому что у тебя, блядь, доходит денег, ты купишь все билеты, чел.
Just as Harry Potter book fans, it must have really changed the way you read these books now.
You do kind of start to look at it as, oh my God, I'll be doing this.
No, for you it's not a book, it's a list of things to do,
Yeah,
you know.
I read the fourth book as we started the first film.
Right.
And the Yule Ball
Yeah.
me and Ron are like, I remember just reading, oh my God, we're wearing dresses?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
What?
I've got to do that, yeah.
Surely.
Did you have a similar moment when you read that, or did you read
Oh
it?
yeah, definitely. That scared me quite. Yeah.
But do you sort of, when you're looking at it, thinking that's another 2 weeks in blue screen, or, oh no, does it sort of ruin your enjoyment or heighten your enjoyment of the book?
I think for me it heightens it because it's like, oh my God, I'm actually going to get to do this because you know there are kids all over the world dreaming of this stuff,
You live in
and
the
you're
dream.
actually going to be able to do it. It's fantastic.
What about you? Alan?
Johnny,
What?
don't you think I'd be a great Harry Potter?
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially when it comes to waving a wand.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Emma.
Now that I've done the film, when I'm reading the book, I can see Dan, Rupert and I actually doing
Yeah.
it. It's really funny. I have this little picture in my head.
Okay, that's me done. So now it's time to turn to the...
Ну, вот тоже, вот как она сказала, у меня тоже такая же фигня была, что я когда переслушивал книги, ну, я в аудиоформате, аудиокнигами слушал, вот. То есть я только один раз в жизни читал книжки, много раз смотрел фильмы, и вот сколько там, года 2,5-3 примерно, я решил переслушать их, ну, в аудиоформате, еще на старой работе, вот, и слушал вот аудиокниги, и когда слушаешь аудиокнигу, я уже все визуализирую с этими персонажами, вот, с этими голосами, то есть это... Вот как она сказала, что представляю, типа, вот нас там в книге, вот так же я...
head and ask him to ask you his one question.
Daniel, isn't our scene together the highlight of the film? Don't you think it's head and shoulders above the rest?
It's the night bus scene, isn't it? Yeah, and I just remember I remember when you got on set, you were making a lot of demands actually, but you know
wouldn't
yeah
come
no
up
it was
to
a good
say
it was a
that
good.
for
I don't remember that.
You asked the question, don't interrupt.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you.
I don't remember that.
Это не помню.
Go on.
No, it's a great scene, very good scene.
Come on, Daniel. I'm the most talented shrunken head in the Screen Actors Guild. In fact, I'm the only talking shrunken head in the guild.
Honestly.
А,
Were
забавно
you big
был.
fans of Harry Potter before you
Так,
got involved in this?
еще одна партия.
Well, we've read the books, haven't we?
Yeah,
So I was like I just finished the first one when we had their auditions for the film. So I thought,
And like, obviously I didn't realise how much of a big scale it was on, but I knew that there was definitely something about them.
You thought it was going to be a low-budget number.
Well,
So what about you, Adol?
Well, I just read the first one, and then, as James and Oliver said, auditions came up, and then had to keep on reading more and more and more, finding out more about the film.
Is it true for your part in Harry Potter you were cast by headhunters?
No, that was only you, wasn't it?
Well, how did you get your star parts?
well, we heard that there was an open audition up in Leeds, and we thought, well, why not go for it? Yeah.
What about you?
Mine was pretty much the same because I'm from Leeds, so mine was at the open audition as well. But I remember all the people queuing up the stairs, and everyone was there with the Harry Potter books, and they put glasses on without lenses in, and I was just there with I had a little small CV, and I was like, okay, I've got no chance of this at all.
What about you?
My manager was onto the cast.
Oh, my manager.
Мой менеджер такой, мой менеджер. Господи. Хохоталочку ему. Да ему вообще, да, я и говорю, она такая угористка, просто сидит, угорает. Прикольная девчонка.
Well, he was onto the casting directors and all that about it, so I went for an audition over in Ireland, and then I was asked to come over here to do a screen test for either Seamus or Neville Longbottom. So I was there, nice and I might get a part now.
Ah, great. And how did they actually break this wonderful news to you?
I didn't know I had the part until the actual read-through. I had to read for... I was told then I was going to read for Seamus, and then they said, well, you've read it all really well, so we'll like to take you on and all that. So went on and on from there again.
Okay, what did you hear?
And mine was about 2 or 3 days after the screen test, and suddenly my mum got a phone call, and I was just carried on playing, and I opened the door and says, who is it? She says, it's Lynn from your agency, and I said, oh, okay. Well, and she gave me the thumbs up, and I just ran in the room, started jumping up and down on the sofa with my friends. It was really cool.
What about you, fellas?
Oh,
we were just
господи.
in the front room, and like the phone rang, so my mum
answered it, and apparently this lady at the other end said, "Hi, is the mum of the Weasley twins there?"
I think she said,
Мама
"No, I think you
близнецов
got it wrong
Уизли.
or something."
Oh, God, your mum blew it for you. That was it.
Hey, Johnny, do you want to know how I got the part?
No.
Oh, hang on. Hey, guys, you want to know how I got the part?
No, not really.
Sorry about that, fellas. Now, if you could play any other characters in the Harry Potter films, who do you think you'd like to play?
I guess a bad guy would be pretty cool, like Draco Malfoy. But I remember the first time I read The Philosopher's Stone, I put my dressing gown on and started pretending to be Harry running around the house. And I can't believe I just told you that.
I'm good, aren't I? What's the strangest thing fans have ever asked you?
Well, they all ask, can we get them a part in the film? But
Yeah.
what else would
Do they? In Ireland, they're asking you for employment.
Yeah. Would you be able to get me a job in Harry Potter?
If it's a lady, I bet you say, well, you know.
Yeah. Shoot me a number and I'll get
I'll have
back
a
to-
word, yeah.
Сосуй,
Have you
наверное.
ever had any really bizarre things happen to you?
Somebody gave me a pepper at the Collectomania that we did.
The what? Kleptomania?
Collectomania, it was a signing event, convention, thank you. And yeah, somebody gave me a pepper, and you got something even stranger.
Перец.
We've got a bra with potatoes in it.
Рыбчик с картошкой.
Don't
And we're
quite.
still to this day trying to figure out what
What kind
that
of tribute is that?
Yeah.
What must go through someone's head when they think, I know what's going to really impress the twins?
I know what's going through my head.
How do we tell you apart? What would you say are the key? How does your mum do it?
That on there. I've got a mole on my neck there, and James isn't.
I haven't.
Ебать, единственное различие, а? Искать родинку.
No,
No, it's dyed hair.
that's a bottle with dark brown.
And what do you think? How do you feel being ginger? Does it
I've got
make-
used to it now.
Yeah.
It's like almost 3 years. When we told people, like we told our close friends that we were in Harry Potter. And, sure.
Да,
And
конечно.
we walked in school with ginger hair. I was like,
Yeah, no one would do that. Who would dye their head? Ginger?
I could play a Weasley in the next film.
No, you couldn't.
What's the problem?
Okay, do you have a twin?
No.
Do you have ginger hair?
No, but I have a bra full of potatoes.
Matt, your character Neville, they've sort of clowned you up a bit for this third
Yeah.
one. What have they done to you? Because you looked a bit different when I was looking at some of the rushes there.
Yeah, there's the false teeth, which are all yellow and crooked. And we've got the 2 sizes too big shoes.
They've gone for the big clown shoe.
Yes.
What about this one with the ears?
Yeah, they put plastic behind the ears to make them stick out more.
Now, in Lupin's class this time, we learn about the boggart,
Бедный
which is
чел.
obviously the thing you fear the most. That's what the boggart turns into. What would be your own personal boggart?
I'd say a big hairy rat.
Rats.
Can't stand them. Or mice.
Do you ever come across rats in this? Do you have to? I know your brother's got.
Only on King's Cross Station last year, but it was an animatronic one.
Yeah.
Until they did the real thing where it was a real one, and I still thought that it was an animatronic one until this thing jumps at me.
They made a real rat.
В смысле не сделали настоящее, блядь? Думал, что это... Господи.
Only on King's Cross Station last year, but it was an animatronic one.
Так, это была
Until they
игрушечная,
did the real
пока
thing where it was
не
a real
сделали
one.
настоящую.
And I still thought that it was an animatronic one until this
А пока
thing
она
jumps at me.
на ней не прыгнула.
Rat jump at you.
Well, it didn't do it because they told it to. It was just...
Она просто смотрела.
Yeah, it really didn't like me, yeah.
What magical power
Господи.
or spell?
Да опять не
would
все
really come in
ответили.
handy in everyday life?
Mine would probably be just so all the girls. Just like every single one.
He says with an Irish twinkle in his eye. All the girls, Johnny, all the girls. Okay. Well, listen, fellas, thank you very much for talking to me.
He doesn't have many friends. This means a lot to him.
Thank you.
Okay, on the one hand, you are all three stars
Oh!
of this film. But you're also evil and mean. I wonder, when you're in the
Подлая
streets,
троица.
if you're loved or loathed. Tom?
I don't know. The character you portray reflects on a lot of young kids' faces when you meet them. They take it very even when you.
Чел справа в тюрячку сел. Вот настоящий слизеринец, да. Играл под лица и закончил под лицом. А чел слева теперь, блин, боевыми искусствами занимается.
Dressed as normal as you are, and you're saying,
So what sort of things that
pleased to
happen
meet
then?
you.
What do they do?
They just stare at you as if you're out of this world. Like they all want to say, "I want to meet Malfoy. I want to meet Malfoy." And when they see him, they're like, No,
we shouldn't get so close.
Yeah, and that's back away. I don't want to speak to you.
Josh, what about you?
Well, in the street, I've received quite a few boos and hisses a couple times.
They've booed at you?
Yeah, a few
How
times.
does that make a man, a young man feel to be booed?
They're not being deadly serious, like they're only playing about in that, but...
I only say, because I've heard down the grapevine from people working on this that the three of you are actually just your pussycats. I've heard this. You're not really thuggish at all. It's a bit of fun.
Who did you hear this from?
I'm not going to say.
I
hope it wasn't Robbie Coltrane, like, because we dealt with him last week. We had to do a bit of slithering work with him. Oh yeah.
Do you think you actually, if you went to this school, you would be in Slytherin yourself? Would it be the house you'd choose? Do you like it?
Just not to the extent I think we go to it.
No.
But you have to be in Slytherin, because if you're in Gryffindor, you can't do anything wrong. You have to be good.
Yeah.
At least in Slytherin, you have the privilege to do everything now and then, you know.
Yeah.
Can you put in a word with the sorting hat to get me in?
Nah.
Oh yeah, you'd be a real help to them.
Yeah. Legs would
There's
be
so
a
many
start.
situations where you think, God, if only I had a shrunken talking head to help me out of this scrape.
Exactly. Tom, do blondes really have more fun?
Well, I couldn't really say that, as I'm not a natural blonde.
I understand you have to constantly bleach your hair to keep it that
I've done
colour.
for many a year now.
Yeah.
Thank
How's
God
that? I mean, do you despise that process? I noticed you chopped it all off.
No, so it wasn't a chore, so to speak. It was all right. I got used to it.
Hey, Tom, you'd look good in dreadlocks, and I'd look great as a blonde. You want to swap?
Not particularly, no. I think your hair matches yourself personally, so I think if I keep my barnet and you keep yours, we'll be rolling.
Oh, could I maybe borrow your shirt then?
Do you get trailers? Your own trailers each?
When you're in location.
If I'm on location,
No.
Do you have any requirements you always say? I mean, do you have any there?
Well, I just need a cup of coffee, cup of tea or something.
Oh, is that it? Cup of tea?
Well, what do you mean?
Don't you have special requirements? I love the idea of you saying, no, I want this, this, and this.
We're
He has a
not,
cold
we're not very celebrity.
No, you're not really celebrity, are you?
Nah.
You don't say, I want just this particular type of M&M.
Nah. Brown ones
No
only,
brown
yeah.
ones, yeah. What about you? What's your thing you like? What's your
Additive.
special requirements?
Well, drinks, just a cold drink. And I'm fine, because they got a CD player in
Music.
the caravan. I just love music, so as long as I got a drink and a CD player, it's fine.
Other than the questions I've asked, what are
CD
the most
player.
ridiculous
Ah,
questions
времена.
asked you?
They asked you at second premiere, and I'm sure the third one coming up, they'll ask me again. Which part do I play? Or do I play the same part? It's like, no, I've changed part to Harry. Actually,
That's the weird thing.
Yeah,
I now have mine.
that's the twist. Yeah, you see it there.
What about you? Same question.
What toothpaste do you use?
What? You've been asked what toothpaste
That's
you
what I
use?
use, yeah, just some random question out of the blue.
What a stupid question. So what's the answer?
Oh, I've got to ask you. And this is an important question here. Do you think your stardom gets you...
Господи. Ну да, Редклифф после того же, как он и завершил съемки в фильмах, он после этого, не скажу, что в тот же год, блядь, но достаточно резко он пошел там в театре голым, играть какую-то там роль голым с конем, потом пошел в отрыв уже в различные киношки. То есть, по-моему, с рогов начал, или в «Женщины в черном», «Женщина в черном», «Рога» пошли там и так далее. «Человеческий швейцарский нож», «Тыры-тыры». Очень много таких неоднозначных ролей, но некоторые фильмы мне прям понравились. Вот. То есть он такой в эксперименты пошел. Эмма Уотсон, она тоже начала там в всяких разных фильмах сниматься, тоже чтобы уйти. Вот Руперт Грин только мало снимался. Том Фелтон тоже не особо много где снимался после этого, вот. Но я что-то слышал, да, что типа он вот не против типа сыграть роль еще раз, если что-то там будет. Вот. Том Фелтон я помню только вот больше по роли в этом в сериале «Флэш», он там играл этого тоже какого-то криминалиста.
A lot more attention from the lady.
To be fair, it's done me no favours.
It must have.
No, that's what you would have thought of, wouldn't you? To be fair, I would have thought the same.
No, I really would have thought. I thought you'd be cracking.
Нет, популярность не принесла им девчонок.
It's the ones that know you that don't. Which is,
Yeah.
I consider myself an alright bloke, but...
So the people actually all around you know you anyway. They're probably the ones you fancy. They're not impressed by it.
No,
and the ones you don't know are the ones you fancy, but you don't know.
Yeah, I don't particularly have any... Not interest, but I don't know them.
Вот так вот.
Obviously. see the
So you're
lights.
saying you never pull off the back of...
No, Harry Potter has not accounted for one lovely lady.
Посмотрите на него. Бабусечку. Гарри Поттер не принес мне ни одной девушки. Ой, чё думали, блядь? Актерами станете и все, и там будете в славе, в деньгах и в женщинах купаться. Вот, пожалуйста. Хуй.
Ask a question then. Go on, Jahed.
Okay, this is for Joshua and Jamie. I don't like the way Tom's character treats you two in the movies. So why don't you leave him and you two can hang out with me?
You need the alpha mentality first, mate.
You do need the alpha mentality, no doubt about that.
Yeah. It's in the genes. In the genes.
It's in the genes. Jeans is something you can't really wear.
As you keep pointing out. Thank you.
Any other questions, Jahed?
When are you going?
Very funny. Listen, fellas, thank you very much
No
for talking
worries,
to us.
lads. Appreciate
Cheers.
it talking to you.
Say goodbye, Jahed.
Bye.
Later,
There.
Голова, блядь. Ой.
So what have you heard about Harry Potter before you actually got involved in it? David, what have you heard?
I'd only read a bit of the first book, and I just knew about all the media furore of it, you know. But I'd not read books 2 or 3, just read a bit of it. And I'd seen the films.
Okay, so you've never read anything about your character? You didn't read the book that this is based on?
Not until I got the part, no. I have to admit, not until I got the part.
Okay, what about you, Gary? What did you know about Harry Potter? What was your
Much the same,
preconceptions?
really. I'd read the first book, and I got one up on Dave, you see. I'd read...
Для фильмографии не так много, на каждый год 2 в чем-то доснимался. Да, 2 вообще... Ох. Ну, типа, Гарри Олдман, он и до Гарри Поттера очень-очень популярный мужик. Он в стольких фильмах снялся. Вот. Второго мужика... Вот, видите, вот даже второй мужик, блядь, я его и по имени даже толком не знаю. Вот. Как тебе там?
There.
Как ж тебя... Дружище, блин.
So what have you heard about Harry Potter before you actually got involved in it? David, what have you heard?
I'd only read a bit of the first book.
Дэвид Тьюлис. Вот, типа, в Гарри Поттере он сыграл шикарно. Вот. Но, типа, где он еще был, я его вообще нигде не помню. В роли Дракулы. Ну да. Это... Он в этом... Дракула, он был, по-моему, ведь в этом... Ван Хельсинге, да?
I just knew about the...
Read anything about it, you didn't read the book that this is based on?
Брэма Стокера? Не. Ну-ка, подожди. Дракула. Брэма Стокера. Так, подожди. Кинопоиск. Угу. Ван Хельсинг. Ван Хельсинг. Разве не Гарри Олдман? Там Ричард был вообще, Роксбург другой. Перепутал. Ладно, извиняюсь. Ну-ка, подожди. Гарри. А где этот еще снимался-то? Так, Отсон, Руби. Бля, заходишь на Кинопоиск роли почитать. А там, блин, серые фоточки. Уже нет живых. Так, где ж ты у нас? Так. Я его пытаюсь найти. Да блин. Ну ты же должен быть наверху. Что ты? Тебя даже снизу нет. Люпин. Где ты наш? А, блядь, я его просто промотал. Случайно. Дэвид Юлис. Так. Где ты еще снимался, чувачок? Из последнего «Песочный человек». Энола Холмс. В «Лиге справедливости» Зака Снайдера он снялся в роли Ареса. Серьезно? Ну там мелькают вообще эти боги ненадолго. Сир Патрик в «Чудо-женщине». Да. Так, а до Гарри Поттера? У него в основном вот Гарри Поттер и Гарри Поттера. Омен. Ладно, в Омене он типа был, не знаю на какой роли. Ну, больше ничего такого я у него популярного не вижу. Ну, то есть популярного в моем понимании, того, чтобы я слышал. Не, больше ни хера нету. Ну вот, в каких-то вот фильмах снимался, а его там я вообще не помню, да, то же самое.
I have to admit, not until I got the part.
Okay, what about you, Gary? What did you heard about Harry Potter? What was your
Much the same,
preconceptions?
really. I'd read the first book, and I got one up on Dave. You see, I'd finished the first book.
Картинок не было.
Do either of you have kids yourselves?
Yes. I do, yeah. Not myself.
Are they into Harry Potter or too young?
Yeah. Alf is 14, so
he's right in the age.
And the other two, Charlie's 4.5 and Gulliver's 6. So they've been here and they've got, you know, obviously it's an added thing that they like Harry Potter, but their dad's in Harry Potter.
I know, exactly. Are they more excited about that than sort of anything else you've done?
Yeah, I'm a hero at school.
Yeah.
Big noise at their school.
Suddenly you're a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing about it, I think, is knowing kids and kids getting absolutely mental when you're in it.
Yeah.
Any kid you meet and anyone I know tells the kids you meet that you're in it, and they get short of breath.
But,
they also get excited about the film.
When I told the Gulliver's 6, he went into his school and he ran up to his mate Omar, and he just said, "Guess what?" He said, "Guess what?" He said, "Guess who's in Harry Potter?" And Omar went, "Harry Potter?"
Yes.
So
yes. He's read the books.
He's read the books. But in general, what kind of attracted you to doing the film?
For me, I was seen for the first film to.
Нифига себе.
Which is why I read the first book.
Right.
And then when I saw it, and I know Ian Hart, who did play Quirrell, I know he had such a good time making it. And I really like kids' films. I really enjoy being part of them. And since this is like the biggest of them all, I just thought what fun it'd be. And then met everyone involved, and I'm a fan of Alfonso Cuarón. And it's, you know, and I'm not disappointed now here at the end of it. I've had a great time making it.
What about you, Gary? What did you like about particularly Sirius Black?
Блин, получается, он пробовался на одну роль, ну вот, на Квиррелла, и он мог просто в первом фильме сыграть теоретически, и все. И ББ. А тут вот он даже более важную роль-то занял, на самом деле, и более долгоиграющую.
Were you surprised to get a character with that kind of, well, with the sort of the dichotomy that Sirius Black has in like a children's book, to find a character with that kind of darkness?
Well, it's great that you. I mean, I've played.
You're no stranger to darkness.
No stranger to darkness.
To the dark, John, the
dark. dark side. And so it was great to be really to play a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy. So, I mean, we think he's a bad guy, but you know. So that was that I liked that dynamic, that sort of twist at the end.
Was there any sort of sense of being like new kids in a sort of established cast, almost new kids in a school, ironically?
Yeah, there's an element of that. It's kind of a welcome from everyone that's worked on it before. Because almost all the crew have worked on it before. Yeah, but it's such a friendly bunch of people.
It's been a great experience.
Yeah.
In that,
But did you feel that sort of did they gang up on you ever? Tease you?
No. Funny enough.
Подрядились. Что за вопрос
Put a
такой?
circle around you, jabbed you, and teased you. Stole things from you.
No, that happens somewhere else. You know, before you get here.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another place they do
your
that.
agent deals with that stuff. But no, it's been a wonderful experience.
What about the kids? What was it like working with them? Did they behave all right?
Yeah, they're great. Daniel's a hell of a nice boy. He's a really great guy. And he's got me into some very good music.
Yeah, I've been listening to some... Yeah.
I was just still listening to the Beatles until I came here. You know.
Yeah.
But he's very passionate, but he's got great taste for a kid of his age.
He's very dedicated, serious about it, and focused. And
because he's actually, I mean, he said he's a big fan of yours, particularly as an actor. I think you are his idol as an actor. Is it quite odd to sort of act with a kid when you know you're his hero? Is that sort of off-putting? You sort of think, I've got to be really good here because this kid.
Yeah, you think I've got to be good here.
Yeah, for the kids.
For the kids.
I'm doing it for the kids.
I'm doing it for the kids.
A lot on the werewolf thing. You are quite lupine, genuinely.
Well, I am now, yeah. But I've put a lot of effort into that. But no, it was good to do. You can say at least once in your career you've done the whole werewolf transformation thing. But it wasn't really fun to do. It was well, no, because it's really uncomfortable to do. It was a terrible day when we were shooting it, and you have these lenses and you can hardly see anything, and a light would be blinding to you. And we were on a very dark set, and I was led out, and it was the middle of summer, and they opened the big studio door, and the sunlight hit my eyes, and I had the teeth still in, and I actually was like, oh.
I'm blinded!
It's taking a bit seriously.
As the in character, as soon as you leave the trailer, the light! Okay, if David genuinely had an animagus, what do you think his animal would be?
I don't know, I think there's a real softness to David, like a deer or something. I could see him as a deer.
What about Gary? How would you apply to that now?
I'd say some kind of bird.
A woman?
Женщина?
Some kind of bird.
Your teeth on the table, guys.
Yeah. An old woman.
If you want to interpret it like that.
Excuse me, sirs, before we go, I just wanted you to know I put both of you on my resume as my co-stars. So if anybody calls, could you just tell them you both learned a lot from me?
You should quit while you're ahead.
Включился наконец-то.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Johnny, what are we doing next?
Just writing questions for Robbie Coltrane and Sir Michael Gambon. So this is
Robbie
heavyweight stuff. I'm
Coltrane.
going to concentrate for a bit here, Drehead.
Yeah, okay. Oh, could you ask a question for me? I just want to ask them what it is like to wear a T-shirt.
You think I'm going to ask Sir Michael Gambon and Robbie Coltrane what it's like to wear a T-shirt? It's ridiculous. I mean, laughing stock.
All right, a suit then.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually.
Oh.
What's it like to wear a suit? Michael, were you a Harry Potter fan before you got this role? How much did you know of the Potter phenomenon?
Not a lot. I'd seen the films, and I haven't read the other two books, read the third one, but I like them very much, yeah.
And obviously with you know, you taking Richard's place in there, I wondered how you sort of approached this role then.
I just did my own thing, you know. I mean, I do it with a slight Irish accent, which I think just seems to be right. I don't know why. It just when I got on the set the first day, Alfonso, I said, I'll just do it. And he said, he came out and said, what's that accent you're doing? And I said, well, it's a bit of Irish, you know, because I am Irish and I feel sort of Irish, and this long beard and the long wig. So he said, all right, leave it in. No one's ever mentioned it since.
And it is kind of, the part of Dumbledore is a sort of, a kind of a classic role, isn't it? I mean, I know you've compared it, I think, to King Lear, I read.
Yeah, well, you feel a bit like King Lear dressed like that, and then he's all-knowing and all-powerful, isn't he? He's a bit nicer than King Lear. King Lear was a bit miserable, isn't he?
Absolutely.
No, he wasn't.
He's not very happy.
And not very good at relationships.
No.
No, really dysfunctional
He doesn't like
relationships.
his children, right?
No, he wasn't good with kids, was he?
No.
Robbie, you are barely over 6 feet tall. In the movie, you're obviously Huge.
8'6".
8'6". So what do they? I mean, without giving away too many secrets, how do they beef that up then?
Well, it's mainly done with very clever camera angles, and there are one or two other tricks which I can't possibly discuss.
But at any time, have you got tall shoes to take you up to an enormous height?
Oh yeah. And
so
big
what's the
boxes
biggest
and
height you
things.
actually physically get to?
8'6".
And how does life feel when you're walking around 8'6"?
Very perilous. Because you go all this way like that, and you can't really see your feet, of course.
Okay, but quite inconvenient life at that height.
Very inconvenient, and the costume's very heavy. The costume weighs about 90 pounds, something like that.
And not only does the costume weigh 90 pounds, but it's made of, what's it made? It's made of...
What do you used to call it? Moleskin, isn't it?
Moleskin, yeah.
Yeah, very thick and very hot.
And you had to wear this, didn't you, on the hottest day?
It was 100 degrees in the
38 градусов.
But I have a cool suit.
Это Цельсий, блядь.
Yes, it's a vest, but it's got miles and miles of
Фаренгейт,
like a refrigerator.
Very like a refrigerator. And then there's a box with ice cubes and cold water in it, and a tiny wee pump off a windscreen wiper of a car, you know.
This is my question.
Yes, I know it's your question, but let them answer it. Robbie, sorry, your suit.
Of course, they dyed the vest pink just to make me look like a complete silly fellow. And they do. They pump the water around. And it's extraordinary because you know how woozy you get when you're really hot and your concentration goes. And then suddenly it's this shock of freezing cold water circling around.
Его охлаждали.
Michael, how excited with the young children in your life that you were in Harry Potter?
Oh well, every boy girl I meet asks me about being Dumbledore, so I do my best to tell them stories about it.
Your young relatives, is it? I mean, there must be a massive difference between that and sort of work you've done, say, during the theatre and things, which I would think they wouldn't particularly want to talk about.
They wouldn't want to talk about Samuel Beckett's Endgame, would they? It wouldn't particularly appeal to the 8-year-olds.
Tell us another story about it, Grandpa. Please tell us about Samuel Beckett.
Tell us about existential alienation.
You're already watching the kids involved in this film grow up. Is that a strange experience?
Well, no, not strange, just very interesting, really. Particularly this film, they're much more confident as actors, but they're much more confident as people because they are, they are young teenagers now. And one thing that came across, particularly in this film, is there is a sense of fun between them because they've known each other for years and they get on well. So there's a good knockabout feeling between them, which means that when you do get a bit of light relief from the horrible things peering in the windows and trying to disembowel you, it's a genuine relief, which I don't think they could have done when they were younger, to be honest.
And I suppose they're more used to the acting now, aren't they? After 3 years.
Exactly. But I mean, they put more time in than probably any of us, don't they?
Yeah.
In terms of hours. And when they're not acting, they're doing their school studies. So it's a long haul for them.
They're there all the time.
Their concentration's astonishing. If any one of those had been the wrong person, and I mean not just the wrong person at the start, but had developed into the wrong person. In fact, we had this gag that we were going to stick a phony moustache and get him to turn up with a cigarette holder and a couple of babes in a fur coat and say, "My trailer is too small, love. I'm going back to it." Until,
the nightmare child
scenario,
Okay, hey, go on. I know you've got a question. Crack away. Go on.
Okay, great. Robbie, I think Hagrid uses the same hairdresser as I use. Do you think I need a new hairstyle?
I think you might have one or two split ends there, matey. But no, I think it's very you. It's very you.
Ah, great. All right. I'll keep it like this.
Go on. You got a question for Michael?
Hello.
Michael. Hello, Sir Michael.
Hello.
You guys are all classically trained actors. Could you get me a role as that skull in Hamlet?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea because you'd be playing as a skull.
A chatty Yorick.
Whoever played Hamlet
Bolton
would be lucky
Yorick.
to have holding him.
Lovely. Well, fair enough. Next question. Michael again. I felt like scratching my knee for the last 6 years now. So, for the next movie, could you get Professor Dumbledore to cast a spell to get me a body?
Yeah, I think that could be done.
What sort of body would you create from
long,
them?
thin, distorted.
Sounds like me.
You finished then, Head?
Yeah.
For now.
Do you know, it's a waste of time even asking you to do those questions. We learnt nothing. It's always about you. It's never actually anything interested in them.
Well, I've had a good teacher.
Thanks very much, fellas.
You're welcome.
Дамблдор просто в шоке сидит такой, что за хрень, блядь, башка заговорила.
When Harry Potter fans encounter you
in
the street, do you get the feeling they hate you or love to hate you?
What do you find I don't get noticed in the streets.
Меня не замечают. Он похудевший.
I know. I just lost weight, you know, just like that.
Where'd it go? Was that a problem? Because, I mean, your character is implicitly meant to be chubby chap.
Yeah, well, I did wear a fat suit in the film, which got bigger every film. And that's how I got bigger, really.
Fiona, what sort of reactions do you get?
If children are being carried by their mothers and the mothers are walking ahead, the children often start crying if they see me. And the mother doesn't know why the child is crying.
Do you get fan mail, hate mail? How does it work?
I get fan mail, but it goes through Leaveston, so I don't get anyone to hate mail.
What sort of nice things do people say to you?
Well, some people say I like your other films you've done. And I was like, what other films? Because I ain't done
Какие другие фильмы?
No, I get a lot of birthdays. People want things signed for their birthdays.
Do you know, it's moved brilliantly on to my next question, which was, I mean, how has your popularity soared amongst children, nephews, nieces?
Deep respect.
Yeah?
Yeah, and not a little fear.
Yes.
I know how they feel. What about you? What experience you've had with some of your younger rellies?
There's some that they just can't believe it. My father lives in Ireland, and cars go slowly past his house because they say that Harry Potter's grandfather lives in there. He's entirely bewildered by this existential fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? How has it sort of changed your life on every level?
It really, because I don't get noticed, it hasn't really changed my life a lot.
No, but I'm just saying, amongst your peers, though, there's that knowledge that you're... Because
Sorry.
I mean, did you miss out on the fact that you're not with, like Daniel is, with a gang of kids?
Yeah, I
and
wanna
actually
be in
all your bits are
Hogwarts.
separate. You film with him a bit at the start, and then you don't see all the others.
No, I really do want to go in Hogwarts.
We want to go to Hogwarts. We want to see what all this
Like
fuss
sports
is about.
day.
What about, like,
Well, I asked Joanne Rowling, you know.
like Parents' Day? Or...
Родительский день?
Yes, the Founders Day.
Yeah.
We said, why can't the Dursleys go to the Hogwarts on Founders Day and see Harry Potter in his school? And she said, I don't know why, but...
Не знаю почему. Господи, какая ржака. Ой. Все туда хотим, да. Кстати, вот да, вот из-за того, что парень этот похудел, его сначала думали вообще, типа, рекастнуть, потом, ну, то есть, другого актера взять на эту роль, а потом все-таки решили, ладно, похер, и сделали ему толстый костюм, он был толстеньким таким в фильме. Это дальше уже потом забили хер и оставили его худым, когда он уже подрос. Бля, вот это вообще угарно. Типа вот, что спросили у Джон Роулинг, могут ли они приехать в Хогвартс.
And she said, I don't know why, but so then they can go. She says, no. I think it would be a disaster.
Yes, jumping the shark. It's jumping the shark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, now, Pam, what are your feelings about joining what is some regard as one of the nation's most awful families?
Это тетушка, наверное, была.
Yeah.
Yes, sheer terror.
So no misgivings about it?
No.
Подожди, как ее?
Awful families.
Sheer terror.
Мардж, да, тетушка Мардж. Да, это она.
No misgivings about it?
No, not at all, no.
And yet you have to suffer kind of facial hair, fangs, and not a good hair colour. How did you feel about that?
I loved it. I do love it, because the good bit is when you take it off at the end of the long working day and you look comparatively okay underneath and you think, I'm not so bad after all.
Do you think that the Dursleys aren't caricaturing though?
No.
What, you breed bulldogs and look like a bulldog in it? Not now.
do.
Not now
People-
you've got your special thing on.
Thank you. No, people do behave like this. I mean, frequently as actors, and I'm sure these other actors have experienced this, you'll see someone or meet someone and you'll say, if I put that on camera, no one would believe the extremity of it. These people aren't that extreme, really. It's just that we're looking at them through a particular lens.
But also don't forget there's been a progression through the films in the relationship. So that when you started out, Harry Potter was very much like Cinderella.
Yeah.
Then he went to Hogwarts and came back with some magic. And in the second movie, you then got this thing of him having powers and putting the family under pressure. And then in this third film, apart from the terrible things that happened to Aunt Marge, the whole house is, you know, shakes with fear because of what he might do.
Yeah.
As Harry Potter gets older, the Dursleys are more
Более напуганы, да,
so
да,
they are
да.
turning from dominating him to being terrified of him. So the boot goes onto the other foot.
All your characters are obviously muggles, but if your characters could have one magical power, what do you think it would be?
I'm a very, very nosy, curious person. So I'd quite like to be able to be invisible occasionally and eavesdrop on various situations.
Yeah, and peek.
Your family, for instance.
Yes.
That was a good one, actually.
That was a good one, wasn't it? The invisibility
John,
cloak
you
seems to
can
be a
have
big
it too.
favourite. Come on.
Видимость многие любят,
I'd like to be
да.
invisible too.
Okay. I've actually been quite quiet this time, so go on. You can have a good question here. Go on.
It's the Dursleys.
Oh, come on. They're the actors.
I'm really scared of
It's
them.
the actors.
They're real.
No. Head off. Thank you very much, Dursleys, for joining us here.
That's what it is to be all mouth and no trousers,
It
isn't
is.
it? Yeah.
Sit.
I can't.
Obviously, the first two films
Так,
directed by Chris
режиссеры
Columbus, a marvellous
из
foundation.
этих, как его...
I just wonder about how you then have made this production your own.
Well, I think the core decision was to make Hogwarts, the context, a character. To make the school, everything, all the sets that you see, a living entity.
Because this is the third film in line, you know, with these two guys, they literally reinvented it. They found a new way to look at all the existing sets.
And he fought for Scotland. Scotland was...
And we took it outside.
Okay, this is my next question. The idea of moving, it's the first time you've done it, moving the whole cast, the whole crew, up to Scotland. What was the decision for? Why did you make that decision?
The thing is, I was not part of 1 and 2, so for me it was just the natural thing to do. There's so much stuff that takes place outdoors in this story, and it was pretty much Stuart who said, no, we have to go to Scotland. He knew all these places. I mean, what do I know? Yeah. So he really fought for it.
But also it gave the film air. I mean, everything, it doesn't matter how beautiful a set is.
It gave the film air.
It gives it space and scale.
Yeah.
I mean, you can recreate a certain amount
of
it's nothing like the real thing. And it really does.
Now Howard is involved in a natural landscape. And it's not only the castle that you see in that natural landscape, but now you see the kids pretty much walking out of a castle on a mountain.
The other thing we tried to do was tie up the spaces, wasn't it? So you're in the hospital, school hospital, the infirmary, but you see through a corridor to the clock tower. Yeah. You follow that clock tower down to the courtyard below. That courtyard is connected via a bridge to the landscape.
Didn't J.K. Rowling actually draw you a little map of this? Some kind of little sketch?
Originally, on the first movie, there is a piece of paper.
I love the fact it starts with that.
Very significant piece of paper. And she did, in a hotel room. She said, this is the world.
Reading the book, you know, I think possibly the most challenging scene in it is, without doubt, the shrieking shack. I just wonder how you then bring that from the script and collaborate to bring that onto the film.
The writing was going on. What started to dictate a lot of the writing started to be Stuart's design of the shrieking shack.
Okay, so what goes on in that meeting?
I think first of all we settled the exterior because we're in a remote mountainscape in Scotland on a snowy mountaintop. What looked very good in that situation was a very tall vertical tower. So that was, I guess, the earliest decision. This kind of tall vertical shape, really.
It was that, and you wanted to do everything wooden.
Yes. Unlike the rest of Hogwarts, which is stone, massive masonry, this was a rickety wooden structure. And then I guess the next step from there, I don't know if it was you or me, but we decided that if it was in this incredibly exposed situation, wouldn't it be great if it moved? If it did move, I mean, big time, didn't it? It was
really, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was nice.
Involving John Richardson, special effects, a massive mechanical rig. And Michael. Yes.
Yeah. So then you take that on as your problem now.
Yeah.
What did you see as the problems of this one? I mean, instantly you must have thought,
the fact that we film on very wide-angle lenses with a lot of moving cameras.
What did you see as the problems of this one? I mean, instantly you must have thought,
the fact that we film on very wide-angle
Снимали фильм с
lenses
широкоугольными
with a
объективами. Такое, блядь.
A lot of moving cameras, so physically, where do I put the lights to illuminate it? But it's a great challenge.
No, but in the early stage, it was a conversation. The biggest conversation that these two guys have is about light sources.
I think so. It's about lunch.
Followed by lunch.
It's about what are we going to eat? Yeah, that's the first conversation. What are we going to drink?
The shrinking shack is supposed to be a place without light, wasn't it? It's completely boarded up. There's no natural light sources, no electricity in this kind of
no candles. There's
what the hell do you do?
So what do you do?
Our conversation was.
Well, basically, it was very, very soft light, so it'll be quite sort of very moody. and with no apparent source, because there are no windows. The only thing there is because it's such an old and decrepit building, and because it's always moving all the time, Stuart made cracks between the boards. So it's almost as if the blinding light from the snow is coming through and just giving you a very soft light. It's also incredibly dusty. So you have the feeling there's a sort of, just dust in the air.
Johnny! No, not now, Ed, not now. These are three very important people. They designed you into this film, they can design you out again.
Then what are they doing talking to you?
I noticed that this change in how the children are dressed. They're much more relaxed, much more casual.
No, the thing is that they are 13. This is the passage from childhood into teenage years.
Yeah.
It is the moment in which the boogeyman doesn't live in the closet or under the bed. You know, the boogeyman resides inside you. So the whole thing, we wanted to bring a really raw naturalism to the kids. So the theory behind was that the more naturalistic we were with the kids, with the performance, with the blocking, with the way they behave, the more magical the magic was going to be.
And did you think it loosened them up, having their own kind of clothes?
Well, I only done this first film, but something I know is that the kids really felt comfortable with the clothes.
In the beginning, they just loved the idea that there was a bit of individualism there. It wasn't just all stamped out like the school uniform thing. Obviously, they got used to it, but they just...
With the school uniforms, for instance. So what we ask is, okay, guys, these are the uniforms. What would you do with them? And you will see some kids with the ties out, some with the ties all the way to here, some of them very tidy. And so it's just pretty much like seeing kids walking out of school.
Apparently, there was a lot of joking around on set, including whoopee cushions. Is this true?
It was not a cushion. It was like a... Now it's very modern. In our time, now it's a machine that is remote control operated.
And you did this, did you?
No, it was Michael Gambon.
Oh, name names.
It's embarrassed down in front of a girl.
Actually, it was very good because it was a bunch of sleeping bags, and Dan has us to have his sleeping bag next to this particular girl.
Я помню эту историю.
And then the thing is...
В той сцене, где, когда их, типа, они спали в спальных мешках, в этом большом зале после нападения. Так, завтра спишется ваш баланс. Отлично. Вот. И вот он, Дэниел Рэдклифф попросил его положить с одной девчонкой, которая ему нравится. И вот что произошло дальше. Потом сделали так, что мы спрятали эту машинку в его спальном мешке. Пукалку.
That we hid this machine in his sleeping bag.
Nice.
And through the take, the beautiful thing of that take is how amazing Dan tried to stay in character. You know, you will hear the
we filmed
thing.
it. It was as if it was a regular take. And there's like hundreds of kids there all asleep, and these characters, and all of a sudden you hear this noise, and Dan just stays in character.
Stays in character.
For about 20 seconds.
What it was amazing is that girls were the first, like, said, hey, it was not me. It was not me.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I thought one of the most kind of curious casting decisions was, well, him.
Me?
Yes, you. Why did you invent this?
Зачем вы изобрели это?
In the magical world, they have these fellows there, right? They are shrunken heads, and they don't. In the night bus, they don't have a radio. They have a shrunken head there.
And what did J.K. make of your? Because it's your idea to have the shrunken head, isn't it?
Yeah, with the shrunken head, what happened is that when we proposed that, you're rolling. She said, "Yeah, that makes perfect sense." And I think that in one of the books, there's a mention by the...
Just a mention?
There is.
Yes. There's
Nocturne Alley.
A Nocturne Alley or something.
There's a shrunken head,
Да, да, в книге есть упоминание.
And having Lenny Henry doing that was just absolutely hilarious.
I'll thank you all in my Oscar speech.
Alfonso, guys, thank you very much for talking to me. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Все, походу. Угу. Ладно, это вот было одно из самых интересных таких видео. Наконец-таки полноценные интервью. И хоть они такие в формате шоу были сделаны, но вот тут прям вот со всеми пообщались. Это было приятненько послушать ребятулик. Тем более здесь сразу же все были собраны и взрослые актеры, и дети актеры. Прям по кайфу. Так, хорошо. Так, 4-й фильм. Кубок огня. Так. Пу-пу-пу-пу. Давайте что-то начнем. Давайте с дополнительных сцен начнем. Сцены, которые были вырезаны.
Хогвартс! Поприветствуем наших друзей, как мы умеем. Встаньте, пожалуйста. Маэстро, прошу.
О. Господи. Типа вот под это пение он сюда шел изначально. Но тут уже поменяли потом. Так. Приглашение на бал.
Соглашайся.
А эти все думали, как пригласить кого-то на бал. Ой, не могу. Так, Джоу. Джоу! Джоу!
Привет,
Привет, Гарри. Блять, не пригласил. Ай, сорвалась рыбка. Так,
Леди и джентльмены, прошу внимания. Ой. Леди и джентльмены, тише, тише, тише. Впервые живем у нас в Хогвартсе. Поприветствуйте группу, которая в представлении не нуждается. Ведуньи! Здравствуй, Хогвартс! Всем привет!
Ведуньи!
Настоящая музыка! Готовы?
Это ж какая-то настоящая группа, как я помню.
Мы будем развлекать вас всю ночь! Вы готовы? Вы готовы?
Like a hairy troll, learning to rock and roll, spinning around like a crazy elf, dancing by himself, boogie down like a unicorn, no stopping till the break of dawn. Put your hands up in the air, like an ogre, just don't care. Can you dance like a
Более полная песенка. Уже полноценный клип.
Move around like a scary ghost, spooking himself the most. Shake your booty like a boggart in pain, again and again and again. Get it on like an angry
Фанеру поют, слышно.
Who's definitely out to get ya? Stamp your feet like a leprechaun. Get it on, get it on. Can you dance like a hypocrite? Mama, 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 mama. Flying off from a cliff. Mama, 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 mama. Swimming down to the ground. Mama, 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 mama.
Думаю, было очень весело тут сниматься. Тупо тусишь и все, вот и снимаешь. Кайф. Мне нравится, как лысые парни башкой кивают, блядь. Как будто вот, знаешь, волосами вот так вот хотят сделать. Заспотипайте. Может, зашажамся, хотел сказать. Интересно, за эту песню прилетят автоклип? Сука. Оп. А эту сценку я помню, где-то я ее видел вырезанную. Везде все сосутся.
Это снова происходит, так же, как раньше. И ни вы, ни кто-либо другой не можете это отрицать.
Я уже сказал, Игорь, не вижу причин для обсуждения. Минус 10 баллов у Пуффендуя и Форсайт, и то же самое у Когтеврана, Стивенс.
Это знак, Северус, и вы это знаете.
Я не понимаю, о чем вы.
Неужели тогда, может быть, вы закатаете свой рукав, а? Вам меня не обмануть, Северус.
Не трогай.
Боитесь, я вижу.
Мне нечего бояться, Игорь. Чего про вас не скажешь.
Бывшие пожиратели смерти. Эта сценка прикольная была. Да и важная.
Артемий, что,
Хоть и
заманиваете
не сильно.
Поттера на летнюю стажировку в министерстве, да? А как же мальчик, который пошел в департамент тайны, не вернулся?
Мне всегда было
Я не
интересно.
сумасшедший.
Мне всегда было интересно, здесь он заподозрил, что типа, ну, это его сын или нет. Потому что вот эти его языковые вот эти фишки, блядь, вот. Он то же самое делал, когда его схватили на суде. Вот. И вот я вот не понял, здесь он типа задумался над тем, что он сказал, или над тем, как он себя ведет. Может, здесь это было как-то раскрыто?
Если хочешь строить из себя героя, я найду тебе много друзей из числа первокурсников. Советую тебе повзрослеть. Будь внимателен. Есть вещи пострашнее русалок. Я все знаю.
Ну, его же этот... После этого тут и убили в лесу. Ну, сынок убил.
Он это сделает, пока не узнали в ежедневном пророке.
Почему?
Слушай, никто ведь не любил Крауча. Я знаю это от отца. И многие ему смерти желали. Да, он был чиновником министерства. Скажи мне, почему его нашли не в Лютном переулке, а? Его убили в Хогвартсе. Это неспроста.
Это непростое совпадение. Шрам болит, тебе снятся сны. Черная метка. Кто-то бросил твое имя в кубок огня. Участие в турнире уже ничего не решает, Гарри. Все намного сложнее. Не думаю, что тебе надо идти к Дамблдору, нет.
Ну, тоже сценка прикольная. Как раз они обсуждают события.
Гарри, а зачем он тебя к себе позвал?
Не знаю.
Бумсланг и крылья золотоглазки. Кажется, он упомянул эти ингредиенты.
Правильно. А что?
Ну, он считает, что ты готовишь оборотное зелье.
Нас ждут неприятности посерьезнее всяких наказаний. Он приближается. Я чувствую.
Интересная сценка тоже. Мне вот интересно, вот эти все доп. Сцены, блядь, они озвучивались как? Потому что вырезано-то явно ведь до того, как отправили на озвучку, на дубляж. Или это сразу же озвучивается для бонусных DVD-дисков? Не очень понимаю. Так, дальше смотрим. Встреча с чемпионами. Кто-то кинул твое имя в следующей голодной игре? Ужас какой.
Чемпион Дурнстранга Виктор Крам. Чемпион Шарбатона Флёр де Лакур. Чемпион Хогвартса
Репетировали.
Седрик Дигори. Теперь мы знаем имена 3 чемпионов.
Еще раз хочу посмотреть на это.
Седрик Дигори. Теперь мы знаем имена 3 чемпионов.
Сука, я не могу.
The first thing in the morning, we arrive at the studios where usually the ADs are waiting for us to arrive.
Помощники режиссера, иди сюда. Вот тут кран.
It's pretty early starts. Saying that, like, you can't really complain. Whenever you arrive, however early you arrive, there's always 500 people there who've been there for like 2 hours.
So what's next? What are you doing after breakfast here today, Rob?
Not today. I have thing in makeup at 7:30.
Good morning.
6:45.
Quarter to 7. Late. Yeah, Clemence is a bit late today. I'm a bit late, but we're not going to worry about that. I think I've overslept a bit.
I'm usually okay at getting up quite early, so yeah, every morning at 5:30, you know that you're going to have to wake up. That's part of the job, really.
Посмотрите на крамушек. Да Дигори, у него нету такой роли-то, какого крутого любимчика всеми.
If you turn up late, you miss your breakfast.
Stealing some orange juice.
There's like 2,000 people working there. Like, they're all, without exception, they're all nice. Everyone. Because I think having to work with kids, you've got to be quite friendly, otherwise it'll just drive you insane.
This is Philippa.
Hey, Philippa. Hello.
What does Philippa do?
IAD Robert, in theory. Try and get into the chair on time.
There's a lot of ADs, and they basically tell you what you have to do. Because of that, you do feel like you don't have to worry about anything else other than your part.
These are the dressing rooms. This is my dressing room. Cedric.
Stan was in the room next to me for the majority of the time.
This is my uniform. I shall go and find out when I'm getting dressed.
Wear hair and makeup. So I'm just telling Jan that I've washed my hair this morning.
Washed my hair, good girl.
I'm going to get rid of my hair. As you can see, it's quite a lot now.
Ну такой бритоголовый, да?
Sheep shearing.
Как лама.
The morning
Сидишь, тебя бреют.
I quite liked having
Кайф вообще.
to be honest.
Он нравится.
You can go out really late the night before and then you can look a complete wreck in the morning and then it's up to everybody else to fix you up.
Now I'm going to have my makeup done. Powder and everything. It's a bit girly.
Did you confirm first shot this morning?
Thank you.
I'm alive today.
pre-death, just about to die.
These are all the wounds from being attacked by the magical hedge. This is my big makeup job. All this stuff takes a little while.
So we're going to the place called the flight jet, where we're going to be shooting the courtyard scene.
This is how we know where to go, what to do. So,
what is that?
This is a call sheet. We get these every morning. Sides. If you have any lines or whatever. That's the ones from the graveyard.
What was your line
Cedric, get back to the cup. What are you talking about?
Because it is such a big troop, everyone has to do something different at the same time. You keep going back and forwards from the first unit to the second unit.
So it's all been quite exciting here because we've had a massive change of costume for Stan for this scene.
Very good.
Yeah, it's
Very
great. It's to
proud.
show off his guns. Suits you, sir.
This is the real thing.
And then I believe you'll be wearing those boots.
Что такие бутсы такие, бля, все это одевать придется.
So Stan's
У них сапоги.
because he doesn't think that these brown trousers are actually going to look good with those boots. So we've got to phone up. See, he's complaining now. Oh dear.
So, what do you think of his scars? Does it look manly?
Very manly.
Yeah.
Very manly.
Да такая, руки в карманы такие. Не знаю, все ли. Иди загугли. Такая стоит. Сзади плакат с ними первого... Нет, это второго фильма. С мечом он там стоит. Помятый, грязный.
Very nice. Yeah, so in about 5-10 minutes we'll be going down to set.
Alright.
Can you handle that? Brace yourself in excitement, Stan.
Кто она? Не успел прочитать.
Very nice. Yeah, so in about 5-10 minutes we'll be going down to set.
Alright.
Can you handle that?
Второй ассистент режиссера, вторая группа. Ебать.
Brace yourself in excitement, Stan.
Готовься к восторгу. Ой, как звучит. А вот и пойди.
Yeah.
Шофер. А, чули такая смешная.
To the set.
На кладбище. Едем на кладбище. Кайф.
It's gonna be great. Leavesden's a pretty big set, and so they drive you around in the golf buggies and things. Because of these elaborate costumes, you can't really walk because basically you'll have to be reset. So I think the golf buggies are pretty necessary.
Going on set. Leavesden isn't
Ебать,
really
вот просто...
heated except from the sets. So it can get quite cold and
Жесть.
a warm coat. Otherwise I would have been too
Вот
cold.
замок.
You're just going to be doing a walk straight up the cloisters, and we'll have the steady cam following you.
Третий ассистент.
Okay, but we're not dancing.
No, this is just.
Просто идете.
First up, it'll just be you going, who are you? What do you want? And then we'll put the rig on you, and then you'll be doing a jerk back.
God, I did have quite a good thing to do today.
X1558, take one.
А, сцена озера. А? Озеро-то было не настоящее. Приятное чувство, да.
When you're filming in real life, you know, who wouldn't enjoy that? But, you know, it's nice to be playing someone like that.
Everybody in position. Roll camera. Action!
Yeah, all I'm worried about is the face, like pain face.
It was quite an awkward scene to be shot because it had to look painful, and if you're just being pulled back the conventional way, it doesn't hurt too much because you're just landing on your back. But that one, they had to it had to be like a coil. I had to get hit in my groin.
So say something.
Нужно выдержать удар в пах. У них же там такой корсет, и он под ногами, так сказать. И когда дергают резко, то вот, конечно, тебе дергают там, блин, за пах, можно сказать. нормально. Голосочек, типа, изобразили его после... Да. Вот сделали писки. Я тут раб.
What do you want? Kill the spare. Avada Kedavra.
Так, сын Батяня киношный.
With the sound I was making, because like when you're being pulled up like that, you kind of make a natural sound, and it didn't really sound very spectacular. It's kind of like or whatever.
Good. You okay? Yeah. Very good.
Дурачится уже. Идем. Сложный рабочий день. Нужно идти. Националис.
I'm going to eat now.
Столовка.
What do you think of the food in the cafeteria generally?
It's generally pretty good, and I don't have to pay for it, so, it's, I don't mind. I don't eat very much anyway.
Finished the courtyard scene. We've had lunch, and we're going to go to hair and makeup to get some checks. So I've been having a little nap, and I think.
Вот она, вот такая прям вся самостоятельная. Вот этот болгарин, который играл Крама, он вечно со своей помощницей. Вот. А Паттисон вообще... Паттисон, я... Это такая прям серьезная актриса, видимо, какая-то.
On a film like Harry Potter, you're actually on set about 2 hours a day, so you wait a lot.
Много ждать.
Where are you going? Flight shed. We're going to the flight shed to do the very last scene in the film.
Scene 106.
106 сцена.
This is what you guys do, you know, in your downtime.
Фокусы.
Card tricks.
We do everything, really.
Everything and anything to keep ourselves amused.
We got involved
Was телек сзади, чела.
magic tricks with cards. So, you know, everyone started, you know, learning how to do magic tricks, and we were showing to each other, which was a great laugh. Where are the 4 kings?
Взрослые люди.
So yeah, so lunch is done, everything's changing, and I'm doing the port key arrival at the Quidditch World Cup. Everyone falls down, but I figured out how to fly. You just use some wires.
Вот интересно вообще, как решается, типа, в каком порядке снимать сцену. Потому что вот они приходят. Твоя первая сцена — смерть твоего персонажа. То есть, конец его персонажа, как бы, первая сцена. Вторая сцена вообще полет, блядь, который был где-то в середине. Нет, ладно, не в середине. Примерно в начале это. Вообще. Эти тоже. Сначала просто прогулка, потом уже только появление в зале. Оп-оп. Кружение.
A bit embarrassing when you have to do things that you haven't been trained for. I mean, I'm not a dancer, but you know, film is great because they can edit it and make it look good, even if it wasn't that good.
Got it.
Чел врезалась. Думаю, тот чел был не против. О, все, вот Крам похитили. Все, увы.
You go and change into your swimming costume now.
Иди надень плавательный костюм, маленькие плавочки.
When the set is getting set up and all the colors and everything, we have stand-ins, which are basically people who sort of look like us in a way, and they are basically there for all the measurements and, you know, all the lighting to get right.
That's me. That's me and
Ты там.
Hey, will you critique his technique? Critique.
Action. You did it better than me.
So Joe is hiding under a buck. fever cat. She just told me I was wrapped, and so we're gonna go and see Murray and look at some pictures we did the other day.
I will have to change. Yeah, whoops. I'm afraid I will not be able to show you. Right. We are here to see me dive in the deep waters of the ocean.
Really? Where do you jump from?
From up there. Let's hope it goes well.
How did the training go?
It went very well, I think. Yeah. I've come quite far since I started, so hopefully it will pay off now.
You can have that.
Oh, is that for me?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you.
We did quite a lot of photo shoots on that film because Murray, the photographer, was around all day. He was part of the crew. He's someone we know, so we had fun doing that.
Oh, that's a cute picture.
She's disappeared.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of the dive because we didn't have that much time, you know, to get it sorted properly.
And did he dive?
He finished officially.
That's a great part of the day. Yeah. I'm wrapped too, so I'm gonna go and get changed and go back home.
Кто-то у них разыскивается.
Well, I personally never thought, oh my god, I just want to go home. You know, I just didn't want to finish.
Все, рабочий день закончен.
End of a long hard day. I'm off. Goodbye.
Он какой-то как угашенный, я не знаю, блин, какой-то такой. Ой, блин. Забавное, очень хорошее видео, очень понравилось. Так. И раз мы тут, далеко не будем уходить тогда. Так, а что у нас было первее? Так, вот. Вот это. Сражение с драконом. Первое испытание. Как оно создавалось.
А сейчас наш четвертый и последний часть.
And the try was a tournament. You've got 3 tasks. The first one is fighting a dragon.
It's a very good savage creature.
My humor is not only exploiting the humor but also the drama. This is deeply serious.
He's mean. He's not there to play. You know, he's there to get Harry.
It really feels, I think, in the film that we're not sure if Harry is going to survive.
The first task, or the dragon sequence, is our biggest sequence on the movie. It's about 140 shots.
It's a magical world, so things like dragons, they're just a part of their life, so we have to make it as integral as possible.
Так, режиссеры по спецэффектам, блядь.
We had some descriptions already from J.K. Rowling's initial ideas about what this creature should look like, but then there's always room to play.
CG, although tricky to shoot for, there's no limits.
The look of the dragon is designed and created by the art department and the model shop and the creature shop in London. So what we get from them is a design in both the form of artwork and also a maquette, which was a 14-foot wingspan, fully textured.
Вот настоящий есть все-таки.
And that model was scanned into the computer and formed the basis of creating our computer version. My job as animation supervisor is to take that model and then start figuring out the character of the horntail dragon, which was our primary responsibility.
Harry steps out and is immediately attacked by this dragon of, monumental size.
Вот она, почему хвосторога. Рога на хвосте.
What sets the horntail dragon apart is really more to do with his attitude and personality. I decided that birds of prey, eagles and hawks, the way they kind of fly and attack, their kind of posturing and their elegance was sort of a good starting point.
There's a lot of twitchiness and a lot of unpredictability, which I think gets into that character and makes you really wonder, what's the dragon gonna do next? Dragon! Is he gonna hit him with the tail? Is he gonna blow fire on him? I think that really comes in the character, that scariness.
Incorporating the dragon into the footage that was shot in the rock quarry set is always a challenge. You have a set that's already been built and lit, and you have a camera moves that have already been filmed based on something that's not there.
A lot of the times it comes down to a lot of different tricks depending on the shot. If Harry's in the stadium and he jumps off of a rock or something, oftentimes we'll actually transition into a CG Harry so that we can either get him closer to the dragon or we can get him to jump on his broom.
The biggest artistic challenges in dealing with the dragon is figuring out how he would fly.
We watched a lot of dragon films, and one of the things that was most important about dragons was their aerodynamics. So we started to talk a lot about
aerodynamica
драконов.
Could it
really turn that hard, and how fast could it climb, and did it need to take off?
So we went into producing some animation tests to show them how they can be agile but at the same time have a sense of mass and size. And these tests are what we show to the director and what they buy off on, and then move forward from there.
Something else that we also found as we started working through the sequence was that he looked a lot scarier when he was kind of backlit, so more of a shape. Also, like when he opens up his wings, you see kind of light through the wings as if they're slightly translucent or transparent.
First task had to just be something a little bit bigger than what was written in the book, and so when we came up with the sequence of flying around Hogwarts, it really put the pressure on us.
Сами придумали себе усложненную работу.
And that makes for a much more cliffhanging experience, if you will.
Part of the sequence where Harry gets knocked off his broom and lands on the roof. When Dan was holding onto that roof, there was quite a fall.
Is it faster or slower or the same? It's pretty much the same speed. Same speed. You're going down on the page.
Дублер
Дэна. It was very, very physical, which I enjoyed.
Оп, ну и сам тоже участвовал. Прикольно, здесь он сам участвовал.
Terrifying, and I'm not afraid to admit that. That was really scary. Anyone would be scared, I'm convinced.
Круто.
Dealing with the dragon hanging off of the side of Dumbledore's tower was a fine balance. For there you're dealing with poses that make him feel like he's really hanging on, but at the same time they didn't want him to feel timid or nervous. They wanted him to feel like he was comfortable and at home, to really make the sequence feel intense and a sense of danger to Harry.
Переходы.
The result of many years of work developing, honing sort of skills, both technical and artistic.
It's seamless. You really believe that Harry is facing this dragon. In real life, nothing was there.
I think it comes down to everybody that was working on it. We've done our job and made the movie more scary.
Да уж, блядь. Вот так вот. Дракон. Дракон Кусака. Так, первое задание. Сразу переходим ко второму заданию. Озеро. Так, озеро, второе испытание.
Possible for the underwater stuff.
Плеер просто запоминает места, куда ты тыкаешь. Вот. А я ж тестировал, досмотрел, типа есть сабы.
Ты пытаешься разгадать послание в яйце?
Почему тебя это волнует?
Тебе дают очень жестокие задания, Гарри, чтобы испытать тебя в самых сложных ситуациях.
I'd say the biggest challenge in terms of filmmaking was the underwater task. We had to somehow create the illusion that this was real.
Harry Potter worlds always have full CG environments, but this one is just extensive because the underwater's new. You've never seen it before.
And it's not a natural environment that we're creating. It's obviously it's our own version of what one would expect to find at the bottom of a Scottish loch.
Each moment metal funny.
It was felt that the look of somebody underwater in the close-ups couldn't really be recreated as well as it looks if you do it for real.
So it then became clear to us that we were going to have to shoot this underwater in some form or other. So Dan had to learn how to dive, and we had to build a tank. And that, of course, you know, was hugely challenging.
Ох, реально все это под водой снимали.
Dan rose to the challenge and undertook something that I think many adults would have been fearful of. He was brilliant.
We obviously wanted to get as much practice in as possible for the underwater stuff, so we trained for about 6 months before. We started off.
6 месяцев тренировались. О. Плавать, двигаться.
Go down there and be confident.
О.
We all wanted it to look as natural as possible, and so that's why we trained for so long. And then I was ready for the 20-foot tank.
How's that, Dan?
Yes, great. Very good. Fantastic.
Being youngsters, we needed to be able to create the underwater environment, so we designed and built this tank. It's a very complex piece of equipment. The tank itself holds about 500,000 gallons of water.
500,000 галлонов.
Liters. It's probably the best tank
2,5 миллиона
for filming.
литров воды. Чувак, dude. Лестница для них аккуратная.
It was so vast, so much more so than I had actually imagined.
Dan, it's nice and slow on the way in.
Dan also has to worry about one other thing, which is performance. You know, it's all right swimming around like a fish, but Dan eventually has to give you the Harry Potter performance.
Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Breather out. Action swimming.
Probably the most difficult sequence will be when Dan has to rescue the 2 characters and to swim with them to the surface.
Grab! Throw your head back when you grab!
Lovely.
Perfect, Dan.
Really nice.
The second unit people plan so that
Оп, и сразу штуку для воздуха.
11 seconds, because that's as long as you can do without air and keeping your eyes open.
Dan, split your look between the green lights and the knot. Yeah.
The main thing that really sort of was a bit frustrating was the fact that communication is obviously quite difficult.
Then, on action, you turn to camera, quizzical look, and go.
There are certain signals like this. This confused me, because this means, quick, I'm drowning, get me up to the surface. Whereas to me, that means, hey, I'm fine.
Dan, do exactly the same as that last one. Thank you.
I just have my AD's voice. I tell him, he tells him, so they hear one voice.
Look to his right now. To your right again.
And go for it.
Air in, air in, air in.
On dry land, here's your mark, and underwater, it's not as easy as that.
Да, под водой еще сложнее всего сниматься.
You realize what an effort it was for him to do that.
Hit! Look it up. Close camera, air in.
Very nice.
Оп, оп.
Habitat for a minute.
This shoot is quite unusual because of the duration whilst we're in water. So we've designed an underwater habitat, and the artists can go inside. They have communications to us. They have a playback monitor so that they're completely up to speed on what the director or the first assistant would like them to do for the next shot.
Ебать таймеров там просто.
Each shot was sort of quite seriously structured in terms of pre-visualization and storyboards. So we had a sense of what we needed, and gradually we pieced the whole together in a sequence that was essentially Dan against a blue screen.
We wanted this lake to be miles long like they are up in Scotland, and that was all going to be done in the computer, so we had to figure out how to do blue screen underwater.
Cut there.
Оп.
Very nice, Dan.
That was very, very groundbreaking, shooting plates against an underwater blue screen. A lot of research went into that, and they finally came up with an underwater blue screen lit from behind.
The blue screen setup for shooting was quite an enormous challenge for the electrical guys. There's a tremendous amount of cable, there's a tremendous number of fluorescent tubes. It achieved.
Ну его надо было, да, подсвечивать, чтобы он был яркий.
Swim higher, Robert. Swim up to Bruce.
You have no idea what the scene is going to look like. There was nothing in the water at all. There's just just massive amounts of blue screen.
I really enjoyed diving, and it was hard work and it was very physical, but it was really rewarding. I got given by the stunt department, this was my Christmas present for them, which was the Professional Diver's Daily Record. And it has in it every dive that I ever did while filming, and the total time that I spent underwater was 41 hours and 38 minutes.
41 час. 38 минут в итоге провел под водой на съемках этой сцены.
And then, with the aid of digital effects, we had to create the environment and create the characters that inhabit that world.
There was a lot of discussion about the look of the environment to begin with. Everyone wanted to go for a sort of a green underwater look rather than the more tropical blue, because it's supposed to be a deep, dark, dank lake. We ended up creating countless different varieties of plants, so that there was always movement.
The most important thing for the challenges was to get across to the audience that Harry was in danger.
Each creature is designed because virtually nothing is from the real world. We don't want to compromise, we want them to feel real and unique and authentic. That's what we've been aiming to achieve. Our mermaid is very much a creature of the deep. We did have discussions about the mermaid designs. When the audience sees it, it has to feel and seem 100% real.
It's great that the mermaid's faces are like a fish. You know that it's a female creature, but it doesn't have very female features. It has a fish face.
They were quite hard to get this balance between gracefulness and elegance and beauty, and at the same time still be scary. One of the things we all felt was key was to make them look as though they could possibly be a person in a mermaid suit.
We went to the route of the tails moving like this, which was just an impossibility for a human to sort of even mimic.
Stuart Craig in production design department designed Crumb. It's quite a bizarre concept, having half human, half shark. It's great in the sequence. He starts off coming towards you and all you see is the shark's teeth, and it's quite scary. And then as he comes past, you see these little human legs kicking him along behind, wearing swimming trunks, which it was quite entertaining and quite fun trying to make that. The Grinslows are something out of the imagination of everyone involved in creating them, I suppose. It's always challenging to come up with fantasy creatures like this that have nothing that you can look at and compare to and say, yes, we've matched that right. One of the things we always have to do is try and find creatures that are as similar as possible, or at least different aspects of them are similar. Like we looked at squid and octopus to try to get some of the skin texture from them. And it's a process of iterations of creating something and discussing it and changing it until you eventually come up with a creature that everyone's happy with.
There was a lot of fabrication, a lot of imagination while shooting it, and a real challenge, but an awful lot of fun.
Very good, Dan.
Ой, да, гемор. Видимо, дольше всего снимали, ну не то чтобы снимали, готовились к этому всему. Потому что, ну реально, блин, чтобы хорошо себя чувствовать в воде и без вот этого, без воздуха, все к этому надо было готовиться долго и привыкать. Так, третье испытание. Третье испытание. Лабиринт. Что же было в лабиринте? Какие были сложности там?
В лабиринте нет ни драконов, ни подводных тварей. Вместо этого вы встретитесь с чем-то более страшным.
My favourite task to do was probably the maze, because I just really like the idea of it. I just think it's such a scary concept.
The maze amplifies the negative points in your character.
The edges move and we fight each other inside it. It's a huge competition.
There's a very strong implication that the maze is alive.
We all started to realize the maze itself is a creature.
The roots are terrifying, they're menacing, they're just gonna snag you if you let them.
It's quite creepy.
Да уж. Корни тут залезут куда не надо, блять. И все. Пизда. Минус очко.
Which was a fairly major scene which we had to tackle and shoot very early on.
О боже, как светло.
Had to create quite large sections of this maze that moved and developed its own.
Ой, еще все, я не проснусь никак.
So early on in the movie, that was our sort of biggest challenge. It had to be able to chase the children through it. It had to move as though it was going to crush them with the actors inside. That involved for us quite a huge engineering build because the walls of the maze were 25 feet high.
In our case, we tried to make it taller than you've ever seen and bigger than you've ever seen. So you're in channels which are just 5 feet wide, but 25, sometimes 40 feet high. So it gets pretty intense and pretty desperate in there.
The maze scene was quite claustrophobic, really.
Что ты сказал? Вот нахер вы вот эти титры, блядь, переводите с актерами? Давал чувство клаустрофобии.
The very first time I went on set, we were filming the maze, and it was absolutely enormous, and you know, I was new to the whole thing, so you know, I was quite nervous, and you know, my heart was like, you know, literally pumping really fast.
You will encounter no dragons in the maze or creatures of the deep.
The maze itself was really sort of mystical. It was, you know, loads of smoke around, so everyone was really interested and excited about what was going to happen.
Action! The maze has a malign personality. It's like being alone in a completely dark, soundproofed room. You begin to doubt your own existence.
It's a really creepy sequence because you're not sure what the danger is when you go in. And we immediately get a sense that the maze has a life of its own.
Cut. Very good. A little sooner, okay? Once more.
Mike actually was very keen to make it very much more psychological.
The maze is not the only danger within, because while in the maze, things can happen.
Ты уже в третьем фильме, ой, в четвертом фильме какой-то растрепанный этот был чел.
There's mist, you can't see very far, you've got the live maze, and that's really shocking.
The maze is acting-wise the most interesting task, because really it was exploring how deep you can go into that fear thing.
It's like it reduces you to your animal components, and you become savage and wild and uncivilized.
Everything's a bit magical, and so we took that and made the maze a living creature too that actually attacks.
It's tremendously violent, incredibly active, and that could only be achieved in the digital arena.
We have CG hedges, lots of wide CG establishers of the maze environment, from close-up detail to the big, broad, grand scale.
Because we set this thing in Scotland, the scale of that landscape was playing a part in this.
With the establisher shots, I think the most important thing was to make it just seem gigantic and how small they are within it. So you have this first shot where you come up from Harry and then you show the whole maze and it's like as big as the valley. It's gigantic. There are points in the sequence where Harry and other characters get attacked by hedges and attacked by roots and chased by hedges, and our task was to make it just claustrophobic and dangerous and just generally very, very, very scary.
We start off with a live action plate and any 3D elements that have been developed. We bring those and integrate them into the live action plate to try and make something look seamless and totally photorealistic.
Almost 90% of the routes you see is visual effects. All these sequences we had to add CG routes to the scene to make it more dangerous and scary. You know, how does a route attack? The animation team would spend a lot of time just sort of like hitting each other with them and trying things out with them.
Пробуй друг на друге, чё они друг пробовали там?
I think the balance game was they always had to be quite gnarly and angular. Brief moments that go straight.
Господи, даже вот эти удары по лицу были не эффектами.
Cedric's on ground, originally shot with ropes tied to him, pulling him around. So we paint out the ropes and then add these routes that seem to whip and grab him and try and throttle in him. Lots of energy. It's pretty scary stuff. Our task was to make the maze scary, spooky, and eerie, and trying to stop them.
Да, моментики тут такие.
What's scariest about it is the dark avenues.
Да, еще игра, а? Что поделаешь?
Ultimately, it's really...
Пап, а что ты сегодня делал на работе? Держал мальчика за ногу. Чё? Такая работа.
leading you to the final challenge, which is the battle with Voldemort.
Закончено. Лабиринт. Так. Ох, что бы дальше? Давай про бал. Подготовка к балу. Подготовка к балу, балу и балу. Что?
В ночь перед Рождеством мы вместе с гостями соберемся в большом зале, где будем веселиться, как
огромная
подобает
эта штука.
воспитанным людям.
This year there's the issue of the girls, the dancing, the Yule Ball.
Everyone was dressed up.
Нарядный, красивый.
I knew what we were doing.
I knew I was going to have to dance in front of everyone else.
I'm afraid of falling or something, and everybody turn around pointing and laughing.
All the kids were able to let loose.
Та-дам, танцульки, вы приглашены. У-ху! Какие булы потом были? Сеточный бал.
Run up to the Yule Ball is fraught for the actors with those emotions that run high in people of their age.
For the first time, they are interacting with the opposite sex. They are enjoying it. They're finding it difficult.
Why do they have to travel in packs? How are you supposed to get one of their own to ask? What I like about Harry is he's pathetic at the whole romance thing. He's rubbish. There's a really good scene, it was one of the last ones we shot, with Harry and Cho, where he asks her to the ball. And he does it incredibly without any kind of tact. He kind of shouts it out like, I just wondered if you wanted to go to the ball with me.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
No.
So can relate to this terrible issue of asking people out.
I know how it feels to be kind of standing there going, oh, yeah, and having nothing to say.
Что с тобой?
Он только что пригласил Флёр де Лакур. Что?
Я ничего не мог поделать. Слова сами вырвались.
In real life, it's pretty scary. So it was a lot easier to do acting.
Святочный бал? Это, конечно, прежде всего танцы.
I think the kids were all quite scared of having to dance.
Боялись дети танцевать. Конечно, для них это...
Put your hand on your right hand on my waist.
Where?
On my waist!
I had to try to teach Rupert to dance the other day. That was pretty strenuous.
This leg moves.
Я уверен, это и в реальной жизни было неловко, когда ты такой, типа, с пожилой женщиной должен танцевать. И учитывая то, что вы знакомы уже четвертый год и плотно там вместе снимаетесь, вот, и тут тебе говорят, давай, танцуй с ней теперь. Что? Господи.
We had to waltz around in front of everyone.
Тем более еще перед толпой это все делать надо.
It's hilarious, actually. The look on his face is just marvelous. It is really great.
When we came off the set, Rupert was like, he just looked at us and said, "Don't say anything. Just don't say anything." Of course, we had to say something to him.
Он не должен забыть этот танец. Никогда.
We had Wayne, wonderful Wayne, the
Ой, я не могу, это реально ржачно. И реально, вот детей ведь всех учили танцевать. Девочки хотят танцевать, мальчики не очень, да. Жиза.
And it does show the sort of awkwardness that men have with the sort of dancing.
All the guys were looking at, each other saying, help, I don't want to do this.
I'd like to be able to dance, but I just don't want to learn, if you know what I mean.
If everyone's got to do it, it's okay. If it's only you, then... But everyone's got to do it, so it's just a laugh.
I've been doing my steps, I've been working my feet. You see my feet work? Yeah.
The kids were quite excited about wearing something special.
All the girls got to dress up and the guys were in tuxedos.
Once you're in that costume in the tux and with your cloak on and everything, you do feel a lot more elegant.
Mum sent me a dress. Mine is just, oh, it's horrible. It's like pink lace all over it, covered in like flowers.
Что это? Что это? Мой парадный костюм. Замечательный костюм. Никакой шнуровки, никакого дурацкого воротничка.
Poor boy, every time he was wearing
Бедный
it,
мальчик.
he had to laugh.
Yeah.
Все смеялись.
Then, on the other hand, there is Emma, who looks so lovely.
Да, и тут Эмма просто расцветает, Гермионочка.
It was like Cinderella. The dress was
Да,
really
как
a
Золушка,
working
прям как
process. We
Золушка.
kept on changing, it kept on changing and kept on changing, and Emma was getting nervous because she thought, what am I going to wear?
Что вообще
And at
будет?
the end, yes, we got it.
It was absolutely gorgeous. I was absolutely terrified I was going to rip it or spill something on it or anything. So literally, I would not sit in it, I would not walk in it, I would not do anything in it apart from what I had to do in it because I was so worried I was going to wreck it.
Before she comes down the stairs, she just peeps around the side of a pillar and looks down. You know that at that point she changed into something.
Emma was never ugly. So, you know, she's always been quite
Ну да, она была красивая, но она была такая,
So, I mean, I
типа...
was kind of like, wow, you're just even more beautiful. Obviously, it's a huge moment in the film, and it is a big transformation. But for me, I'm kind of like, well, I've seen you at premieres.
I was so nervous about the whole thing because it's meant to be such a big moment and it's going to be an anticipated moment and I had so many pointers from Mike about how I wanted to look. I got down about 3 steps and fell down in front of the whole set, which was incredibly embarrassing. But no, it should be good in the film. You won't see that bit. But no, it was good.
Walking into the set of the Yule Ball was absolutely amazing.
Everyone had to pretend they were in awe when they came in, but I think it was really genuine actually.
It's the best set I've seen so far, I think.
The description in the novel is that it's a kind of ice palace, really. There are icicles hanging from the magic ceiling. So we've taken that maybe a step further.
When I went in, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I cannot tell you how beautiful everything looked.
You recognize it as exactly the same space, but the transformation is nonetheless pretty complete.
Как хорошо поработали.
The whole thing, of course, looked like Swarovski crystal and was stunning.
Oh, this is my big dance day.
How many times have I done it? I don't know.
I've done it for about 3 weeks, and I only had about 4 days to learn because I was doing another scene, and so I'm quite proud of what I managed to do. But it was very hard, and I got to about halfway through, and then I would kind of just lose it completely. It is just a rehearsal.
And you can see him on the screen. You can see dear old Dan, who works for absolutely everything. And at the minute, at any rate, things may change.
А чё, как раз к ему и подходит ведь по роли, что типа вот он такой неуклюжий, не уверен в себе, и как раз таки актер и учился танцам буквально 4 дня, потому что был занят на других сценах.
At the minute, God did not necessarily mean him to be a ballroom dancer, and it's just very funny.
Поэтому вот и неловко все выходило.
He is absolutely his character.
Да, он точно его персонаж, да.
Harry's not very good. I felt I should play it down. I would have liked to be very impressive. In my mind, I could see myself, everyone going, oh, he's such a good dancer. I would have liked to be very...
Он с Гермионой?
His character at that point.
But because Harry's not very good, I felt I
Они
should
тренировались вместе, вот.
would have liked to be very impressive. In my mind, I could see myself, everyone going, oh, he's such a good dancer. Wow. And it didn't happen.
Этого не произошло. Увы, ах.
Wilder. It's a bit like, yeah, a bit tame, yeah, much wilder, yeah.
It's part formal and part informal. So yeah, that'll be the first time you're seeing a mosh pit at Hogwarts.
Дикие танцы в Хогвартсе.
You had to get these kids who would be completely abandoned to music. They were marvelous at that. They completely lost themselves. It's great.
So I will bow my hand.
And I'm going to come over to the dark side.
There you go.
There were a lot of boys, a lot of girls, probably more in a more loose environment than we've ever had. And boy, did they have a blast. We all did. I have to say, it was really fun.
I think what Mike is really trying to capture is the really awkward teenage stage where girls and boys are interested in each other and neither of the sexes quite know how to be.
It really kind of takes the whole boy-girl dating thing and sort of exaggerates it slightly, but just enough so it's still believable. And it's very funny.
It was enormous fun.
Да. Dancing. Ух! Скрылась. Та-та-та-та-та-ра-ра. Да, сцена вообще замечательная, очень веселая. Ой. Так, что у нас остается еще из 4-го? Давай вот это, потом вот это и вот это. И как раз таки на сегодня мне этого хватит, да даже больше, как будто бы чем хотелось бы, но лучше давай. Ладно, давай. Создание 4-го фильма. Создание 4-го фильма. Так.
Seems like yesterday we were just doing the first film.
Первый фильм. Малютки.
When we all came into it, it was quite daunting at first.
Здесь фотки.
It was very intense experience.
Да буквально 4 года прошло. Как сильно меняются вообще люди.
When I first got into this, I was so nervous.
When I entered the production of the first movie, I had no idea it was going to go into the fourth one.
Four years later, it's just like we've all grown up with each other and everything.
Everyone's hitting puberty.
This is unbelievable. Emma Watson on the phone, on set, on the bed, with her shoes on.
Спалили.
I think everyone like sees each other changing and it's kind of like a family growing up.
Hey, Dad, where are we going? Having the foggiest. Keep up.
Between the third and the fourth, there was a much more substantial time off. And so when I was coming back here this year, I was just really excited, and because it was just great to be back here with everyone who I've got to know so well after the last few films.
When you come back after there's been a break between filming, it's just like seeing all your friends again after you've gone home from boarding school.
It's a lot better than school.
It actually felt really nice to have the glasses back on. I think I'm now going to have to insist that all the roles I play are visually impaired in some way, so they all need glasses, just to make me feel at home.
No, we can get that.
It's really nice actually. You really do find that after being away, you miss people, and it's really nice to come back and see them again.
It gives you a feeling that you're not coming to work, you're just coming to see your old friends, really.
Everyone is really fun.
Вот так вот все сдружились, уже все для них просто процесс съемок просто в радость.
We're all friends down here, and there's certainly no grouping off. I don't feel anyway between different members of the cast.
It doesn't matter if you have the biggest part or just you're in like I don't know a few scenes. It's quite everyone's together with everyone. This one, there are lots of new characters introduced. There's Victor Crumb, there's Cho Chang, Cedric Diggory, Fleur de la Cour. There's some fantastic new actors and actresses who are also sort of around our age as well, so that's great.
It's quite nice to have that sort of a new sort of face on set, so it's quite sort of exciting.
When they first come, a lot of them had not done things before, and so they're a little sort of awestruck at the whole big, massive sets and people like Alan Rickman and Maggie Smith.
I didn't really know what to expect because I haven't really been in other sets before. So it was quite a shock for me.
Very good, Dan. Well done. Well done.
It's always exciting to get on that kind of set because, I mean, it's just literally a small village.
You go into Leavesden and it's enormous. It's got this whole Harry Potter world, and I'd never experienced anything like it.
When you get thrown into an environment like all the crew and cast are here who's known each other for ages, it's like being a new student at school.
Right at the beginning, I just literally sat by myself and never talked to anyone and just drank like 25 cups of coffee every day.
The actual very first thing we shot, I felt as if my heart was going to jump out my body.
I think we're able to understand what it's like. It's quite a daunting task, just stepping onto the set one day and just.
Ну, прикольно, что там все друг друга знают уже.
When they come in, you try to make it really friendly towards them, and a lot of them are really cool as well. So they just sort of get right in there, and when they come in, you try to make it really friendly towards them, and.
Она на каких-то ходулях, блядь.
A lot of them are really
Ебать, тетя вышла это.
cool as well, so they just sort of get right in there, and we're all good friends, really.
He's a nice chap.
At first I thought that, they would be a bit, behaving a bit strange to us because we were new, but that didn't happen. We were really warmly welcomed.
Coming in, I mean, because those people have been working together for nearly 4 years, they include you, and they're lovely people.
As soon as we all met each other, we clicked like that.
Everyone's pretty close. I hang around with the people from this a lot outside of when I'm not working as well.
I would say the girls hang out as a group because we like to gossip about boys and stuff. So
My first date was Stan's first date, and so I kind of bonded with him.
Господи. Все, закорешились.
About with everyone because everyone's just so nice.
О, поцелуйки.
The slightly more adult cast members who are Madeline Moody, who's played by Brendan Gleeson.
Oh, no, you don't, silly! They've always seen him in like so many different Irish films. I've always said, yeah, I'd love to be working with him. So, it's pretty much like a dream come true.
Constant vigilance. Constant vigilance.
Brendan Gleeson makes me laugh so much. I don't know how I got through those scenes with him. He was so funny.
Young love.
Rita Skeeter.
Miranda Richardson, who plays Rita Skeeter.
You!
Don't even start, you silly girl.
She's absolutely horrible. She's such a piece of work. No one else could play her around her. She's brilliant.
So, who's feeling up to sharing?
On this one, really more than the others, there have been a lot of new people. So Mike was incredibly keen to make sure that we didn't get on set and just everyone not really know each other that well.
I remember the first thing we got told is before the shoot, we were going to do a sort of drama workshops for all us kids.
We actually had, sort of workshop sessions where we were all sort of getting up and improvising scenes together.
We had to act out something where we were scared or something, and we had to come up with something, and it was quite fun.
We all got to know Mike, got to know the new characters, got to know each other again.
It's a great way to, get a first contact with everyone.
I don't know about everybody else who are the new people, but I was just so desperate to look cool, especially as I was older than them as well. I was really desperate, and I probably ended up looking very uncool.
I think Mike was encouraging the competition in us, he said.
Hey, go on and sit right there. Okay.
Mike's such a really great character, and he's got such presence.
Behave like you would at school, okay?
I think one of the things that Mike has brought to it is a real sense of British boarding school.
He's very, very English. He wears a waistcoat every day, which I just quite like because you don't see enough waistcoats anymore, really.
Sort of find out there's going to be a new director because you sort of get quite close, and then it's quite nerve-wracking to see what sort of person it's going to be. And Mike, he was great. Yeah, really good laugh. Yeah.
Rupert, I'm terribly sorry, old chap. Just take a beat before the wave.
With the scene that we were doing in the Great Hall with, it's James and Oliver.
Action!
Драка. Знаменитая драка, да. Где режиссер пошел драться сам.
As what Mike wanted.
Okay, who wants to fight?
Так, все, пошел биться. Кто из вас будет со мной драться? И начали вот хуяриться просто.
I think he was hobbling around for about 4 days afterwards because he sprained some muscle.
Небольшую травму получил режиссер.
Instead of sitting there in his chair watching the monitor, he's out there and he's doing it and he's giving back energy to the actors and I think he's great.
Of course, what we will do is to do it again, because we always do. But that was a genuinely good one, okay? Well done.
When you're working, you have a lot of adrenaline and stuff, but there's a lot of waiting around.
Once again, we find ourselves in the Great Hall and slightly bored.
It's quite easy to get bored just waiting around, but we definitely over the full film, so you kind of think
Заранее думают уже, чем буду заниматься. Гитарка, оп, сюда. Видеоигры.
I actually developed a slight obsession with game.
I just like to say, I got her past the zombies and a number of other zombies.
Знакомый интерфейс. Как будто по принципу Персии.
I tried to make out that I was really obsession with.
Белый шаровар. Принципе, это, по-моему, принцип Персии 1. Ну-ка. Принц Персии 1 ПК. Да, блять, дайте мне нормальный. Нет, там интерфейс другой был. Ну, песчаные зомби такие. Блять, ну интерфейс очень похож на принц Персии. А что это могло... Что это может быть? Что-то знакомое. Ну-ка. А поиск по картинке, интересно, сможет разобрать эту муть? Ну-ка. Поиск по картинке. Так. Я сомневаюсь, конечно, что он что-то тут обнаружит. Нет. Не находит. Вот интерфейс. Вот найди мне интерфейс. Тоже не находит. Блин. Так, в принципе, версии 1. Вообще просто, в принципе, версии введу, блядь. Игра. Сразу миллион разных принцев Персии вылазит. Пу-пу-пу-пу-пу. А, вот. Ну-ка. Так, пески времени. Ищем. Так вот. Все равно не то. Все равно не то, что ли? Да, блять, скриншот. А то выводится... Да, это принц Персии. Наконец нашел нормальный скриншот, твою мать. Я покажу. Вот, блин, а, плеер у меня сверху. Вот. Принц Персии это. Блять. Открыть картинку в новом окне. Вот. Видно? То есть вот она, вот эта вот полоска сверху, и снизу вот эти песочные штучки. Вот, я же говорил, это принц Персии. Я не сошел с ума. И типа вот сравнить. Оп, оп. Ну там тут еще не прокачанный. Просто персонаж. Я знал, я не шиз. Бесстрастилась к игре.
I tried to make out that I was really good at the game and that I could go, yeah, this is easy, what's all the fuss about? But of course I was really not very good at all because I'm not very good at computer games.
Дай попробуй, дай. Так, да, все, твоя очередь. Кто-то на машинках гонял.
Most of the other people, most of the other actors who you're working with, like the young actors, are always in school.
You go, boys and girls. Lovely school. I've only got half an hour left.
School was a lot more sort of hectic. We were all sort of preparing for our GCSEs, which are really big exams.
Back to tutoring now.
Снова за учебу.
In a way it was hard because we didn't get to spend as much time together as we would have liked, but in the other way we all completely understood why that was, because it was like we were all in the same boat. Basically we knew how hard we were all sort of having to work, and it all paid off because, you know, everyone has done, you know, really well.
Is she Mrs. Rowe?
So we have.
О, даже логотип был, принц Персии.
This is my very messy.
We are in Leavesden for about 11 months at a time, 10-11 months, and so it is really nice to sort of to once in a while get out and you know, just film in another place.
I love being outside, and going on location is fantastic.
Well, this one we went up to Oxford again, and it was great.
Yeah, Oxford's lovely. It is a nice place. This great huge university college we film at is a real nice location.
When we go out, you get 15 of us all staying in the same hotel, and we go out and eat after filming and have a good time.
It's just like going away with your friends and stuff and doing the filming and stuff, and then nightlife together. It was good. It's a good change.
There's a ferret scene where Malfoy gets turned into a ferret.
It was a live ferret.
Настоящий хорек!
Double insides in, one for the ferret to go down, and obviously to protect it from scratching my leg.
Ему реально хорька пихали в штаны.
It was a good ferret. It was trained.
I actually did have to reach down his trousers. Not very pleasant, but it had to be done.
Luckily the ferret wasn't really me. Luckily they brought in a stunt double ferret.
Ну был и не настоящий хорек, все. Нет, это уже был не настоящий.
There's these incredible towers of ice cream.
Мороженое.
Chocolate trifles.
Ням-ням-ням.
I have to admit, my mouth was watering throughout the whole scene, and just be told it was fake, made of plastic. It's incredible, and they do such a good job.
There are so many different aspects of how this film comes together, and there's so many different departments. One of the departments that I don't think gets enough credit is the art department, and I think that would be good fun for a day to see what that's like. Or the ADs, they work extremely hard.
Introduced to your new first assistant for the evening, that's Bonnie Wright.
It'd be quite fun to be a runner, you know, running around, and you'd have to like help like each department.
Yeah, I'd love to work in props, I suppose.
I'd
love to be able to make a fake turkey and plonk it on the table and watch everyone not be able to eat it.
I'd like to be in the maybe the script writing side.
I'd like to be cameraman. That's quite a cool job.
One thing I've always wanted to do was produce a film.
Art department, if I could draw, but I can't, so no. So probably I really enjoy creature effects.
Да, хотел бы рисовать, но не умею.
I'd really like to try my hand at directing.
What he said basically was,
I just like to learn as much as I can, really. Even though, you know, it may not always be the most appropriate time. You know, people would be really busy, and I'll be, how does that work? And you know, so it may or not always be convenient. I may not have the best sense of timing, but I do like to find out stuff particularly about how the camera works. Oh, what's that? What's it doing? I'm slightly more
Это что такое? А если на эту кнопочку нажать?
Questions. Hopefully, I'm learning things and getting better.
Sorry, I just started laughing that time.
Every day it's like an adventure, so I just enjoy it more and more.
It's a once in a lifetime thing, and we did make the most of it.
I can't wait for, you know, the fifth one.
На нафиг с ноги. На этом все. Опа. как говорится, работа мечты. Просто приходишь и кайфуешь. Просто кайфуешь по-жесткому. Так, я думаю, все-таки вот интервью с троицей, она просто там на полчаса. Оставим ее также на завтра, чтобы с нее начать. Ой. Растягиваем удовольствие, как говорится, по максимуму. Но у нас есть еще одно видео на 11 минуток, которое как раз таки подходит для того, чтобы завершить на сегодня. Называется оно «Тот, кого нельзя называть». Темный лорд вернулся.
This is the first time he's appeared and he's assumed physical form.
It's what the audiences have been waiting for.
Да, зрители ждали это.
From the very beginning, there's always been a sense of something tremendously bad.
There was a real sense that the last three films and everything we've done in the fourth film, it's all building up to this confrontation with Voldemort.
Он вернулся! Вернулся! Волан-де-Морт!
Ray Fiennes was our first choice, frankly our only choice. He had the ability to inspire such fear with so little. He clearly had to be charismatic and be someone who had inspired many to follow him.
He's outrageous and he's really frightening sometimes. He's really kind of mad and gone somewhere else in the eyes.
One of the things that made me want to do the role was Mike Newell showing me these drawings, artwork about the suggested looks of Voldemort. I got a real buzz off it, and then that's pretty much when I thought, oh, this would be
Да, роль крутая.
I've taken photographs of me and sort of morphed them into this frightening reptilian-looking creature. The look is bald head and long spindly fingers, sort of like a skeleton with skin on.
Joe talked about Voldemort as someone who has no sense of love.
The good moral half of him is missing.
That's sort of represented by in the book by his becoming more snake-like, and the red eyes. I think is a brilliant image in the book, really successful. In a film, we ultimately felt if you actually had red eyes, you couldn't read what the eyes were expressing.
If you don't leave an enormous chunk of the human being there, then he isn't going to scare you.
And then the hands come into frame. Good. Yeah. Come into frame. They could sort of snap.
In his costume, what we wanted was a costume that wasn't necessarily as heavy and had a simplicity about it.
He's just come out of this cauldron, so I think whatever he has should be akin to a skin.
I started working on that idea, and that's how I came with those very thin silk, very floating, and we had a lot of layers of them. So it was a sort of spirit.
As filmmakers, on this picture, one of our hardest things has been taking a character who's been talked about so much but never seen and making him real.
I began with the nature of the character, and then it was much more a matter of how one would graft the expectations that people would have from the book. So the nose became very important.
With the nose, we looked at prosthetic versions. When it was first discussed, I said, it isn't going to work. Whereas if you can just drop his flesh back, take out that section digitally, it's going to be striking, because it isn't something you can do with makeup. It's odd.
It had to be terrifying, yet it had to be human-like plus snake-like.
We digitally removed his nose, or rather diminished his nose, flattened it like that of a snake, and instead of traditional human nostrils, created slits.
It became very clear that we were going to have to track his head, and then track his expressions, and then build and blend into his skin.
So I had to wear funny little dots on my head, which they will use to digitally remaster my conch.
Our goal was that you look at him and he seems quite normal, but then you look a little closer and you realize, you know what, it's not quite right.
The way he is now is he's some dreadful, mutated human being.
With an actor like Ray Fiennes, you don't have the opportunity to do a 10-hour makeup. So we covered him in tattoos every day.
They had to paint me with these transfers that were laid on my face.
They've got, and it's like the veins on his hands and on his arms and on his head. They just add to the whole element of kind of fear and creepiness that goes with them. It's great. It's really good.
I was very keen not to have too much makeup on. I was very keen to be physically quite free to move. And I have some prosthetics up here to take out the eyebrows. But I wear nothing around my mouth or here in my neck or here. It's curious how you feel it blocking expression when you wear all that stuff.
If you look at that sequence, he's putting a lot of himself into it. We never wanted to sort of steal away that. And you start building up too much of that, it really starts to lose that character.
The glue that holds it together is what the actor actually feels. And if he feels comfortable and it feels right, then it probably is.
I want to get my pad of my finger on his mark, not the nail. And I can only do so far bending my arm up.
It was just very interesting working with him. I do feel I learned something because the way he used his body is fantastic.
The idea is that he's just got this new skin. And Mike's great thing was he's new in this body. It's new to him, so he's testing it. So when we first see him touching, feeling his head, feeling his face, his eyes pop open. And we see him test this whole new body for the first time. So it was a lot of just sort of feeling how a muscle might move, what it's like to walk again. Very much of the senses, and then through the scene, sort of relishing the power.
Дай мне свою руку, мой повелитель.
Это все тоже так.
Mike was very keen to explore the unexpected mood swings of Voldemort.
Я сказал, бери палочку. Вставай, вставай! Ты ведь обучался искусству дуэли. Сначала надо поклониться друг другу.
So there are moments when sort of anger spits out at him at Harry, and other moments when it can be very silky and smooth and almost.
Да. Кто добренький? Ну-ка давай, делай как я хочу.
It's quite hard to play someone that is sort of, people say, oh, he is the sort of essence of evil.
The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away.
How's that, Mike?
That's very good. That's very good.
Voldemort has been the engine, you know, the evil force behind all of the books and all of the stories up to the point that he appears here. So that's a lot of weight on his shoulders.
I wanted him to be really deeply, humanly evil, not an idea of evil. I mean, and that comes from fear, frustration, unhappiness.
Молодец, Гарри. Родители бы тобой гордились. Особенно твоя мерзкая мамаша Магл.
You don't know where he's coming from. I think when people are very scary when you don't know quite, when you suspect they might suddenly do something very violent. You have to judge that, try and get it right. It's not too much, and yet if it's not forceful enough, it doesn't count.
The scene with me and Voldemort was definitely the most challenging scene. At the same time, as hating him with every fibre of his being, Harry is also absolutely terrified of him because he killed his parents and he wants to murder him for that. Hopefully, I get that fear right. You really have to focus, you know, mentally, but also it's a very physical scene for sort of everyone in it, really.
Actually, I felt bad because he had to sort of be tied up without having many words to say, and I did a lot of talking. So he had to put up with a lot from me. Doing endless takes while he suffered.
How lies have fed your them.
Do you know where you're standing?
Do you know where you're standing? You're standing on the bones of my father.
I've never seen anybody want to do a scene so many times over and over and stop within it and repeat it and change it and, you know, torture himself to mine every last drop out of a scene. And I think because he's taken on board that there are millions of people around the world who have very strong ideas about who this character should be.
I know there's one moment.
Спасибо озвучке, что подобрали такой голос. Могли все испортить. Да. Вот тоже про это же тоже речь идет, что все понимали, насколько этот персонаж важен в в том числе и актер, какая на него тут ложилась ответственность играть вот такого персонажа. Так что да, тут нельзя было просто обосраться нигде. Ни на стадии съемок, ни на стадии спецэффектов, ни на стадии, конечно же, дубляжа.
When they say to Harry,
Я тебя уничтожу.
I say it very quietly. I want to say it very, very simply.
С этого дня, если и будут говорить о тебе, то лишь о том, как ты умолял меня. Просил о смерти.
It's much more scary. It's a very disturbing scene. I mean, if you sort of strip away the fairy tale fantasy package of it, what you get is a little boy tied up while an older man humiliates
Маленький мальчик, который булится взрослый, да.
Translated to the real world is not children's fare at all.
It would be foolish of us to coddle and make these films as though we were pandering to a young audience.
If you pull your punches, then what happens is that you begin to oversimplify and sentimentalize.
When I saw the first few days rushes, you know, with Rafe's performance, I realised what we'd gone and done.
It holds my attention, I'll tell you. I'm nailed to the floor when that scene is up there.
I have to say, I didn't know much about the world of Harry Potter when Mike Newell approached me. But I talked to lots of nieces and nephews.
Поговорил с племянницами и племянниками.
Villain rolls around at the moment.
He's really quite terrifying. It's going to really freak people out. I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be great.
Не смей поворачиваться ко мне спиной, Гарри Поттер! Я хочу, чтобы ты видел, как я убиваю тебя! Я хочу видеть, как свет померкнет в твоих глазах! Нет!
Это великолепно. Это великолепно. Ой. Так. Все. Отлично. Отлично. Ладно, так тоже пометим. Пятый. У нас еще интервью осталось. Потом еще бонусы пятого. И бонусы шестого еще. Так, бонусы шестого. Там один на полчаса. Один на 47 минут. Один на 50. Это уже 2,5. И еще на полчаса. И куча по мелочевке там по пару минут. Ну это 3 часа. То есть шестой фильм как будто бы прям полностью... Блять, еще 2 стрима, что ли, делать? Мне похер, я смотрю в кайф. В кайф. Все. Ничего не знаю. Будем все смотреть. Вот. И это еще... И... Да. Но вот эти 2, я их оставляю напоследок, потому что я не знаю, типа, какие там материалы использовались. Но у нас есть еще тут... То есть у меня сейчас вот по 6 фильмам есть доп. Материалы, да? Вот. Но дополнительно у меня есть еще 2... Как их даже описать, я не знаю. 2 видео с телеканалов про Гарри Поттера. То есть, если здесь бонусные всякие материалы с DVD-дисков, вот. А здесь вот на 47 минут это с Discovery про Гарри Поттер. И я не совсем понимаю, что там. Вот. Плюс есть еще и Гарри Поттер 50 лучших моментов от ТВ-3. И там тоже не совсем понимаю, чего ожидать. Вот. Ну, я и молчу вообще про то, что есть еще всякие интервью, то есть, где Джон Роулинг, интервью с... Ну, то есть, общение с Дэниелом Рэдклиффом. Даже оно какое-то длинное, по-моему. Вот. Короче, я не успокоюсь, пока у меня это все не закончится. Вот. После чего уже перейду спокойной душой к играм. Какое тут слово? Восклицательный знак слезерин. Вот. Просто когда еще, вот как не сейчас, все это смотреть, чтобы вот... Ой. Чтобы это все посмотреть, впитать себя максимально, и все, и отпустить. Иди. А вот не пойду. Все. Так что завтра продолжим смотреть. Ничего не знаю, мне на все насрать, как говорится. Вот. Выходной у меня пока не предвидится, пока работаем. Возможно, если постараюсь, как будто бы завтра может быть выходной. Но не факт. Не факт. Посмотрим. Вот. Если я сегодня успею доделать работу, то завтра можно как будто бы выделить выходной и посмотреть побольше. Вот. Но ничего не обещаю. Так что на сегодня заканчиваю. Сегодня еще там на канале выйдет 3 записи по Хогвартсу. Вот, буду пока выкидывать по 3 записи. И все, завтра надо еще выспаться. Все, пока-пока. Спасибо за просмотр.